talking about? We're talking about spiders, and we're talking about pervitin', and we're talking about Bigfoot. I'm here to tell you where he's been. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. Here we go now. I'm talking about Mr. Gulley, and you don't know where he's been. Oh no, he's been right in your alley. Well, I'm Mr. Gulley, yes I am. So what we talking about? We're talking about spiders, and we're talking about pervitin', and we're talking about Bigfoot. I'm here to tell you where he's been. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. One, two, three, four. They call me Mr. Gulley. I've got something for your ear. Now it might sound kind of funny, but I'll make it very clear. So what we talking about? We're talking about spiders, and we're talking about pervitin', and we're talking about Bigfoot. I'm here to tell you where he's been. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. Here we go now. I'm talking about Mr. Gulley, and you don't know where he's been. Oh no, he's been right in your alley. Well, I'm Mr. Gulley, yes I am. So what we talking about? We're talking about spiders, and we're talking about pervitin', and we're talking about Bigfoot. I'm here to tell you where he's been. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way.
Hey everybody, what's going on? What's hot? What's hip? What's happening? What is shaking on your Wednesday? That means hump day, and as always, we here at the Tom Gulley Show hope you are receiving the full, total, and complete amount of hump that you so desperately crave and you so rightfully deserve. Well, it's a big day here. We'll be looking back on, yes, 500 shows. This is show 501, but We've done 500 shows. Yeah. So there we are. Terry Nee is here. Terry Nee, when's your birthday? Was that a couple of days ago or something? My birthday, Jesse, P.S., is not until the end of this month. And yes, we will have a big celebration for that too. But we'll be looking back today on some of our favorite shows from the last 500. We'd like to hear your thoughts on what you liked and especially what you didn't like. That's what we'd really like to hear. And I'll be pinning the link to the StreamYard in just a little while. That's right. But for right now, if you could like, share, subscribe, retweet, notification bell, all the free things that don't cost you a cent that you can do that will help us with the algorithm, the almighty, all-powerful, all-seeing algorithm, because, you know, we need the help. We really do. And then we do have super chats and we do have memberships because they help us pay the bills around here. We'd love it when you do that. Because, you know, without being able to pay for StreamYard, how would StreamYard be able to destroy my show 2 to 3 times a week? And last but not least, turn on those gifted memberships. I'll get them up here in the begging bar at the bottom of the screen, right down there in the ticker. If you turn those on, very generous people come up and they do wonderful things for the show. And they may give you a membership that will allow you access to that members-only exclusive content. Is all the stuff that I'm too scared to put on the internet in general. Wow, the comments are coming in here like crazy, and some of them are very funny. Tim Jenkinson, who never misses an opportunity when my soccer team Arsenal loses to tell me about it. Yes, they lost in the semifinals today to Paris Saint-Germain. 2-1 in the semifinals of the Champions League. The Wolf is confused. He says, "What the hell?" And I said, "About what?" And he said, "In my dreams I walk with you, in dreams I talk with you." And I told him, "That's not a little creepy." And he said, "Is he talking about Blue Velvet?" And I said, "No, it's Champions League." It's only a real jerk would call Blue Velvet creepy. Blue Velvet is as creepy as it comes. It's great, don't get me wrong, but dead body, bugs crawling in ears. Come on, man. Come on. Corey is here. He says, "Hey, Tom, good to see him." 500 shows. Wowee. 500 shows that not a damn soul watched, you know. 500, let's go, says Goat. Good to see him here. And let's see. Jesse P.S. from Pod Awful is here. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a round of applause. Well-known, noted internet personality Jesse P.S. is here. And give him $1. I don't know how you want to do that. You can go to podawful.pizza, but please give him $1. As I've been telling you for the last, 6 months, he needs $1. Paused Up Patriot is here, longtime viewer. Thanks to him for showing up all these times. And Jesse calls me Uncle Tom, and I used to have a cabin. I did. It was true. Megabit Banshee is here. Says H2BH, happy to be here. Congrats on the big 6-0. First of all, I'm older than that. Second of all, that's not till the end of the month. The Wolf says, in the days, it was just considered good manners to give a massage to the 500th guest. Julian Zeezer is here, always with insightful comments, keeping me honest. Yes, Mr. 500. Smokane is here from way on the other side of the world. I think it's Australia. I'm not going to say it's New Zealand. He says, congrats on 500 shows. A very funny man. Thank you very much. Speaking of 500, you know, son, the toilets are in turn 5. Roger Toss is here. Says, happy 500. This montage is too good. Well, thank you. We humpin', happy 500th. And Terry D, I have an apology for you coming up. Happy birthday. It's not my birthday. Mr. Quintennial, they call him. That's right. Judy Tester, who just received a free membership the other day. And this, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve this. Roller Skater Texas Girl has given us $19.99. What a wonderful lady. You know what I think I ought to do? I ought to try and get that video file of her flying. I mean flying This woman can skate on roller skates. Let me see if I can find it. It's from a while back here. I have it. I'm telling you, I have it. And it is, I'm going to say it's this one. And I'm going to show it right now. Here she is. Here's roller skater Texas girl. Come on. Present. Look at this. Look at this lady. This is her. Backwards, and then we're going to show this twice. This is roller skater Texas girl. Thank you so much for the $19.99. Not a lot of people donate to the show, and that's doubly wonderful. But check this out. I mean, she's skating faster backwards than most people forwards. Look at this. Look at this. This is kind of the viewers that we have. Look at that crossover, little crossover action there. Look at that's got to be like a 40-foot skid. And she didn't even leave a skid mark. I wish I could say the same. This is amazing. I'm just going to show it one more time here. Look at this. All right. This is the kind of folks we have on our show. Athletes, people of note. Let me put myself back on the screen here real fast. All right. And here's the apology. Terry Nee, we missed your birthday. Terry Nee is older than I am, especially right now. Like a month, 4 weeks older than me. So Terry Nee, happy belated birthday. Sorry that we missed that. Terry Nee is a moderator in 7,000 chat rooms on the internet. Jared's here. He says, congrats, Tom. Nice to see you, Jared. Gene1313, it's the Gulley 500. Start your engines. Yes, it's the greatest spectacle in streaming. I got a Facebook request by someone named Gene today. And Gene, you're the only one I know named Gene. So if that's you, let me know, and I will consider, because it's on my personal page. It's very difficult to be accepted on my personal page. You might be able to make the cut, though. Christian Slater's here with spiders, as usual, one of the many celebrities that follows the show and is into spiders. Billy Zane, also another, I think. I can't remember the other one. Terry Nee, thank you so much for the $5, which I'm sure it's just a clerical error. I'm sure you meant it to be 500, but it's 5. And I do thank you for that, Terry. You're a very funny man, and I'm always glad that you're here. And even though you are a moderator of 17 shows that hate my guts, you still come in here, and I appreciate that very much. Rumpled Trench Coat. Oh, my God. I was going to save this for later. But Rumpled Trench Coat has given out 10 memberships. I don't know who got them, but whoever got them, he is the most benevolent person that comes in here. If you're not watching Rumpled Trench Coat, a Columbo podcast, you are missing out. You go to the Rumpled Trench Coat YouTube page, you see a show for Columbo. Then you go to Tubi, watch that episode, and then listen to the wrap-up that he and his sister, Vava Voom, watch. And I was going to save this, but since you kind of brought it up, I went back through, and I'm going to get to some more comments here in just a second. I went back through and picked out not necessarily the 10 best, not necessarily the 10 anything, but I picked some of my favorite episodes. And one of them was, of course, Rumpled Trench Coat, special guest star with his sister. And wow, that was a fine episode. We had so much fun, and they're so knowledgeable about Columbo. And Rumpled is knowledgeable about a lot of TV shows. I'm sure his sister is too. But what a tremendous supporter of our show. And thank you, thank you, thank you. He has a frosted Tom Gulley Show mug, for the love of Mike. Yeah. By the way, in the description of this show, you can go to our new page. We have 2 new designs that Cafe Press thinks there's something wrong with the skant one. So they've written me and said, what's this skant thing? And I had to explain it to them, so I'm still waiting on approval. But I'm actually wearing, yes, a Tom Gulley Show shirt. You can get one of those if you want. But he's got a frosted mug. Terry Knee's got some stuff. Anyway, let's get this off here. We'll bring it up again later. We will. Corey says the algorithm chant was pretty funny. Oh, yeah, we always got to have the algorithm on our side. Rumpled Trench Coat says, just a little bonus for such a milestone. Thank you so much, Rumpled. You are a good man, and I appreciate it. And Rumpled Trench Coat also invented the greatest post-Thanksgiving sandwich of them all. You take 2 pieces of bread, because that's, it's your sandwich starter kit, and then you put some stuffing and some turkey and some dressing, and there's your, it's pretty good. Good evening, says Roller Skater Texas Girl to Tom and chat family. We do have the most cheerful chat room on the internet, as verified by independent sources. And get this. That girl can skate. I just showed you. Never mind. You already know that. Music Biz Marty Official from Beyond the Grave says, hey, Tom, heard this is a big day for you. I only lasted 499 shows before I died. Membership bonanza. Yes, it's a membership bonanza. Up fingers. Yes, we got to have up fingers. Please click that like or subscribe button. Subscribe. You never have to come back, ever, if you don't want to. And like, what's that cost you? It doesn't cost you anything. Well, it says 500 chilling, thrilling, scintillating, explosive shows with quick feet, athletic. When you're dead, these podcasts will be treasured. Soul Train was awesome. Yeah, I just had to put, it's a festival back there. Hard Archivist, who's memorialized me at least once on the internet, is here. Good to see him or her. Rumpled saying hi to the room. People saying hi. Insurmountable Nitwit says, congratulations on 500. Metal Maiden Vicky says, greetings, Tom and everyone. Happy 500. I'm sure Metal Maiden Vicky's got to be around 500 or over 500. By the way, Metal Maiden Vicky's Metal Euphoria can be heard every Saturday from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. on SonicAsylumRadio.com, the website. Good partners of ours for so long. Goat says, congratulations, big guy. Thank you so much, Goat. I appreciate that. I really do. And I'm sorry for not being able to say your full name. Anyway, civilians running for their lives in terror from the amount of sheer knowledge. Yes, you will run into some knowledge here. Roller Skater Texas Girl is laughing. You don't deserve it. Refund Texas Girl. Well, she wants a refund. I'm more than happy to provide her one. Did Soul Train have Denny Terrio as host? No, you're thinking of Dance Fever, I think. I'm not sure, but that might... it wasn't Solid Gold. I think it was Dance Fever. Roller Skater Texas Girl says, you're very welcome, Tom. Thank you so much. Rumpled Trench Coat says, damn, I couldn't run that fast without falling, much less skating backwards. Yeah, Roller Skater Texas Girl, she's fine. Fine. Pot Awful says, I can't believe you're already 500. Well, you should be able to believe it because you guys have aged me more than anyone else. Not lately. There was a while there. Happy birthday, Terry, belatedly. Yes, I Facebook. Okay, I'll approve that later on. Moderating is a great responsibility which wise people have placed upon me. Well, I guess that's true. Happy to be here. It was a lot of fun. Loved the interview, Tom. So glad we made the cut. Well, you no problems there. Trenchcoat siblings were awesome, no doubt. InfoWars says, here's to 500 more. Dr. Gulley, thank you so much. Lenny is here, says, congrats on 500 shows. Looking forward to 500 more. Yeah, maybe one of them will be good. Watched episode number 1. Star Trek Continued yesterday. Very good. Star Trek Continued. I watched the last 5 episodes, including the 2-part ending. It's incalculable how good that is. The scripts are amazing. The acting is perfect. Everything is just, it's amazing. Rumpled Trenchcoat Columbo Podcast says, thank you, Terry. Adrian's a riot, and she's really good on the air. You guys are great together. Insurmountable Nitwit became a YouTube member. Thank you. That is very, very nice of you. Goat says, everyone know Bigfoot was the best episode because of your immeasurable denial of the fact that he does indeed exist. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. Let's see. Tom Gulley has the best Let Me Tell You About shows on the interwebs. Thank you. Av Warrior says, I'm a massive Gully head. Thank you for being that. Hello to people saying hello. Want to call it From Here to Eternity. Okay. I'm pretty sure I slept with the Bigfoot after a long night of drinking. Well, you'd know by the odor. It was pretty funny when Dupa came in as people saying hi. That was great. Coach Mike Rodick says, hello to all my friends in chat. Oh, hey, Tom. Oh, hey, Coach Mike Rodick. Zyler says, congrats, Tom. Thank you, Zyker. Not Zyler, Zyker. Happy 500. Bet that was funny. Hello, people saying hi. People saying hi. People saying hi. Urquit is here. Happy 500. That Urquit's a smart guy. He's got a pretty. Pot Alva says, here's to 988 more episodes. That is so random. Mandy Stan, the wolf with $4.99. He be cool when he do 500 shows, but when he be bad, he be Billy the Kid. These are great callbacks. When he be cool, he be Popeye, but when he be bad, he be Billy the Kid. Dance Fever sounds about right. Denny Terrio. Soul Train might have been someone else. Yes, that would be Don Cornelius. Chef is in the house. Longtime follower of the show. He's an actual chef, and he's chefing, and he knows my sisters. Pot Apple says, let me tell you about Tom's. Well, yeah. Like you're not in that same club, buddy. Infowars says, yes, definitely random. Very rando. Okay, so over the last however long, and incidentally, these are just the last 500 shows that I have on that you can see. There's at least 100 shows that you can't see that I can see. Can we get feet picks for the big 500? You could get a shoe pick for that. You're not going to see I'm not taking my shoes off during the show. I can't these gunboats. Richard Tees says, I love this show. Thanks, Dick. Yes, I do know the senior lecturer. She's a senior. When will you do a subscriber face reveal? I don't even know what that is. I'm gonna put the link up shortly. If they want to reveal their face, I suppose they could give it a shot. Let's see here. I can't get these gunboats. These Adidas. These are Campus, I think. Adidas Campus shoes. I'm not wearing the Sambas today. Let's show toe. I don't mind showing my feet. I'm just not doing it today. If you guys want to see my feet, I don't care. They're not particularly attractive. Another win for the toe. Fishman is here. Says, hey, Tom, congratulations on becoming famous today. Thank you. Hard Ray says, Toe Gully, please show toe, Tom. I don't got no problem doing it. I'm just not doing it today. Let's see. Guys, let's get 500 people in here live for Tom's fight. Yeah, I don't think anybody wants that. Share that show. Hit like. Well, thank you, Jesse. That's very kind of you. I don't know that this show is worthy of 500 people. I don't know whether it can handle that, whether the StreamYard will collapse. I can tell you this, because this is kind of if you want some behind the scenes and stuff today. Oh, wow. Metal Main Vicky with a super sticker of $3. Thank you, Metal Main Vicky, a great friend of the show. And always a pleasure to have her here. Once again, her show's got an amazing chat room. If you go to sonicasylumradio.com on Saturday from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern, you can put GIFs in it, and it's just a great time. A really great time. Shoto 500. Victor says, my friend at the place I live, someone stole 50. Yeah, this is one of the things that's become a standard here on the show, is that Victor is writing his autobiography in our chat room, regardless of what the topic is. And Rumpled concurs with me here. Vicky's chat is a lot of fun. Standby Man says, I love you, Tom. First, Standy Man. This is the first time I've seen you here, but I do accept your love. I do. All right, let me just tell you, doing this show is difficult for me for a variety of reasons. It's not nearly as good as it should be. I think the internet has spoken on that. I think it's pretty obvious. I only have a very limited time every day. I am so busy with my real life job during the day. I've got like hardly any time at all to devote to this. So this is it. When I'm here doing it, that's when I'm doing it. If I have an hour beforehand, that's like a miracle, an absolute miracle. Now, strangely enough, I have a lot of time after the show that I completely waste in the Pod Awful Discord. And I recommend that you, if possible, join the Pod Awful Discord. I think you can get in at Pod Awful Pizza, podawful.pizza. Yeah. And then just give them $1. That's my mission. Everybody's got to give them $1. You know, I'm going to have to catch up on these comments later, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to catch up with all of them, or it's just going to end up being me reading comments. So I went through and I looked at, Stella's here. I have to say hi to Stella. Hello, Stella. How you doing? Anyway, no, don't apologize, Victor. We're all used to it by now. It's become a part of the show. There's no need to apologize. Anyway, I went through, and I did this very quickly. I didn't look at the number of views. I didn't do anything. I just, if one popped out to me that I like that, and this is the kind of show we do, blah, blah, I picked it. And I picked out 10. These aren't necessarily the top 10. I could pick different 10. One of the ones that's not on here, because I did 4 different versions of the thumbnail, is the one with Jesse P.S. on. And that, of course, would have been a top 10. These are just emblematic of the little thing that we do here every day. And these aren't going back to the shows where I just did weird stories and stuff. These are only from like the last 2 years, which the last 2 years is, I don't know, probably about 400 shows. So, and they look better than the other ones. Anyway, remember when we did the show on Star Trek Adventures? Remember that? Remember that wonderful show? I bring that up just because I've been talking so much about Star Trek Continues, and I did the show the other day about Star Trek is way better than Star Wars. Oh, see, now that was a great show because it got into actual inventions that exist in the world that were created, and the creators even said, no, this is why we did it, was Star Trek. That's a show we did. And then we love to do shows about crazy criminal type people, and I picked this one out because this one happened in my hometown. Tony Kuritzis, remember the guy that wired a shotgun to his mortgage broker's head and marched him down the street and then held a press conference with all the police around live? Remember that guy? Lovely show. Of course, we had to include this one, didn't we? Yeah, well, it's kind of one of the things we're noted for. So yes, Pervitin, or Pervitin, or whatever they say in the song. Yes, everyone's favorite German candied methamphetamine that helped change the face of World War II. Pervitin, known as German chocolates here on the show. This one, we do a lot of shows about this kind of stuff. We did, the snake expert's mistake. Now, this fella is the guy that was checking on a certain snake, which he missed, and he's the world's expert on snakes, and he misidentified the snake, and it bit him, and then he went home, and he realized he was undergoing some duress from that snake bite, and started writing down everything that was happening to him, ate some toast, threw up immediately after, all the good stuff. And we've done the show about the guy that wanted to take the steam rocket. Remember that guy into outer space that tried once and then he fell to earth and broke his back. And so then he tried again and fell to earth and wished that he had broken his back. That guy, Carl Wallenda, we did that show where, hey, I'm 78. Why not keep walking tightropes in windy weather? I mean, we do a lot of shows like that. We've also had a lot of very great special guest stars. This one, of course, was Ed. Remember Ed Robertson, his 2 appearances here? The amazing Ed Robertson, one of the few people on earth with a greater sickness than I have for classic television shows. This book here, that I'm extensively quoted in the introduction of the book. It's got to be 3/4 of a page. Yes, the great Ed Robertson. Now, see, I put this one in here for 2 reasons. Number 1, we all love Dark Shadows. Number 2, in Dark Shadows, by the way, you can watch like 1,200 episodes of it on Tubi. It's got every episode but one. And even that episode, they have stills and they have the audio. The other reason is, I believe Jesse P.S. joined us at the end of that show. And as Jesse had mentioned earlier, y'all got to see me fall in love with the lovely and talented Ruta Lee when she was on the show just weeks ago. Just a couple of weeks ago. It was so awesome. It was really one of the best moments of my life. God almighty, was it great. Ruta Lee. Oh, I can't tell you. And then, of course, there's the shows we do that people almost dare me to do. We've done Ingrown Toenails. We've done Tweezers, Clippers. We've done Haggis. We've done all sorts of stuff. And yes, we did do the show on lint. That's right, lint. Thinking about doing one on gingivitis, but I'm not sure. Here's another one. Jesse P.S. was also on this show, if I'm not mistaken, and that is The Bigfoot Show. It's in the theme song. There is no Bigfoot, folks. There just isn't. I'm sorry. I know a lot of you wish there was a Bigfoot, but there's not. And there's never going to be, because there isn't one. And then last but not least, our good friend, Rumpled Trench Coat. What a great interview that was. And just going over all the Columbo stuff. And man, oh man, if you haven't subscribed to Rumpled Trench Coat, a Columbo podcast, you're missing out. By the way, I should mention that Rumpled Trench Coat and his lovely sister are like really smart people. I happen to know what both of them do when they're not doing that podcast, and they're like genius level people. It's a little intimidating. I'm glad I didn't know it when we did the interview, because I wouldn't have been able to do the interview. I would have just gone, I'm giving up. There's no reason for me to continue. It really isn't. Let's get to some of these comments. Let's see. Loves the show. The more, the merrier. It is kind of charming. Did you say pizza? Oh, we've done shows on all sorts of food. Pizza, French fries, you name it. I'm having French fries later, by the way. Dark Brain with just a lot of emojis. Thank you, Dark Brain. The flip phone just doesn't have a phaser. Roger Toss says, Tom, could you tell us the name of the intro song you've used in the past? The rock and roll song with Drink My Women, Steal My Wine, or some similar line in the lyrics? That would be called Never Go Out of My Way by Tim Brickley and the Bleeding Hearts. Unfathomably based. Thank you, Turing test failure. Well, we should do Turing. We should do a show on him. Let's see. Roller says, Tom, are you Team India or Team Pakistan? I don't follow cricket. Literally perv. Grifty loves pervitine. A lot of people do. It's, Grid Zombie says, congrats on 500 shows. Max is there. Doom is hoping for a denial of service thing on here. He's an imminent in it, I think. Mr. Nubler is here. This is live. Urquit is a member. Oh, now see, that fills me with great joy. A lot of people are wanting a denial of service, I guess. We want the toe, Tom. Oh, Ed Robertson was a great guest. I've got to get back with him because he and I were talking a couple of weeks ago about doing that. I'm on his show, he's on my show thing. And we're going to name the top episodic TV actors and actresses. I've got a list, he's got a list, and we're going to talk about it. That show should last about 10 hours. Let's see. Nobody's made a Gulligan's Island yet? No, Kayla's boyfriend. That's funny. I don't think so, Kayla's boyfriend. Not yet. There ought to be one. Humana, Shoto. I came for the ads. There's no ads. Now, for a long time on this show, and there's some people in this room that will back me up on this, we did have a sponsor. And it was Ranger Rob's Pet Poopy Bags. I could probably still do the whole commercial, but I don't have the box. Here, biodegradable, lemon scented, extra large handles so you don't get dookie all over your hands. Oh, brother, somebody's trying to sell me life insurance. Oh, and here you go. I'm getting a notification from YouTube that my show is on. Thanks, YouTube. Old toes are best presented after a warm soak in Epsom salts and displayed on a bed of fresh herbs. Lint was a classic. Did you guys hear that? I swear to God, I'm going to wait until midnight tonight, and I'm going to knock on those people's door and say, yeah, the car's kind of loud sometimes. Hear that? Anyway. Ruta is amazing, isn't she, though? Riveting stuff. Show them toes. Not this time. If you guys want me to, we'll schedule a time and I'll show my feet on the show. Or I'll just take some pictures and then show them, I suppose. I never forgot where I was when the Lint episode went live. How dare you? Gully Gang. Yeah, well, it's Gully Gang, Gully Heads, Gullerinos, which is my preferred, or Flock of Seagullies. But you guys can, it's your thing. Call it whatever you want. Lint Toe Tom. Love the Columbo show. Always ended with just one more thing. And the crook thought he was getting me. Yes, exactly. I feel like I just watched a show. Australia Day show was my favorite. A lot of people liked the Australia Day show. That was a good show. Scott's shirt went. First of all, it's not Scott. It will be Scont. And it's when Cafe Press approves it. They think it's something dirty. And I had to write and explain to him, no, it's a guy named Scott. And he accidentally said his name was Scont. And so it's a joke. And so I'm waiting to get their approval on that. Melanie Vicky said she's on like episode 815 of Dark Shadows. The latest episodes went back to black and white too. They replayed the previous episode trailer. I gotcha. Australia was good. The Tom Gulley Show. The Toe Gulley Show. Well, let's not go nuts. Tom, congrats on the big 45. Man, I wish I was 45 again. Those were the days. Now, when I was 41, that was a good year. Let me tell you about coleslaw. Do you want me to do coleslaw? I'll do coleslaw tomorrow if you want me to. Let me tell you about cults. Convince me Bigfoot isn't real. Okay, show me a corpse that I won't, and that the rest of the world won't immediately laugh at. Tom Gulley reads your chat. I do. Let me tell you about Fraggle Rock. Not a big Fraggle Rock fan, although during the holidays this year I might do Let Me Tell You About Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. H2B 500. Thank you so much, Chris, from very northeast Canada. Well, east anyway. Bussy. I also like They Call Me Mr. Lucky as a theme too. Yeah, we just got a very better good one. Let's see. Tom is the coolest cool uncle I never had. Let me tell you about Crystal Knocked. Yeah, we can do that. I can tell you about Crystal Knocked. I can do that. Let's see. Thank you, Tom. Well, you're welcome. Let's see. Yeah. The previous day's trailer was in color. Let me tell you about Song of the South. We could do that. Gollywogs, yeah. Tom Gulley founded the Dabbleverse, and the world is likely worse off for it. I had nothing to do with it. Let me tell you about human goo. Congratulations on the 500th poopy bags. Yeah, we did do poopy bags. I'll tell you about Jeffrey Dahmer. A lot of people have done Jeffrey. That is very funny, Doom. I'm not in any way responsible for the Dabbleverse. In fact, the Dabbleverse, I'm pretty sure, universally hates my guts. Well, a lot of them do. Actually, weirdly enough, a few of the bigger shows, those people that actually do the show like me, but all their fans hate me. Here for those piggies. Let me tell you about 77 Virgins. I can't put that up there, man. That's let me tell you about the time I showed my supple soaked teak during my 500 show extravaganza. I'm gonna do a show about my toes now. I guarantee you that. Tom, thank you so much for telling me the name of that song. The bounty on your head has been officially terminated and canceled. Thank you, dang. Yes, Ranger Rob's pet poopy bags. That's right. Let me tell you about showing them toads. You're the best, Mr. Tom Thomason. Yeah, good old Tom Thomas. Let's get to 50 likes. Oh, that'd be a record. Kelvin says, sup, Tom. The heckin' Gullerinos. You know what really hurt my feelings really bad the other day was I watched an episode with the guy on the internet that everybody makes fun of, and he made more in that one night than I will make in probably 3 months. And he's awful. And I don't mean from a financial standpoint or anything. It's an ego thing. It was an ego thing. Let me tell you about the Pulse nightclub. I should be writing these down because that's actually a good one. Or the guy in Las Vegas with the country thing. Let's see here. Guys that like Gully Loose. Scott rules. Scott does rule. At the airport, heading back to the UK from Cuba. What were you doing in Cuba? It's been awesome. Let me tell you about Scont from Australia. We've already done that. Sober Sheldon says, congrats. First ever David Letterman Scholar has hit 500 episodes. Wow, I am the first ever David Letterman Scholar. Intelligent Counterspell is a new member. Welcome to the fold. Let's see. Perhaps you can wait until midnight as for a ride in his ultra-modern, extremely fast car. You can also go absorpine. Yes, look at the stars and go absorpine. We love a good show. Let me tell you about Che Guevara. I would like to actually hear about coleslaw. Well, all right, hold on. So I got coleslaw, Pulse. I got toes. Those shows will all be done. Tom, you don't look a day over 72. Thank you. Jesse did show you the Bigfoot corpse. Well, I had seen that Bigfoot corpse before. And if that's your evidence, I think you're going to lose more people than you gain. Let's see. I'm on a mission from God. Emmett Otter was the best. I have it on DVD. Let's see here. 50 viewers. Well, I've got 63 now. Since when did this show blow up? It's the people from Pod Awful are being very nice to an old man. We're going to see your feet, whether we do this the right way or not, because I've got that Riz. An actual quote from Tom Gulley. Cast iron, I've said it on this show. And I've got the moves like Jagger as well. I do. Tell you about roller skates. You're the hottest 45-year-old online. Fishstone is this. The Dabbleverse is all your fault, Tom. I think it's your fault because you clip it and spread it because you're the clipper guy. So I think it's your fault. Let me tell you about how much challah costs. You're such a jerk. This show has always been explosive. If I show a picture of my sister-in-law, it's the same as a Bigfoot. Leon Kennedy, who did the song for our new opening song. Thank you, Leon Kennedy. I believe he's a member of the Potapple Cult as well. A Tom Gulley confession. I'm a Tom fan. Does that mean I'm not in the Dabbleverse? It's a gray area. It's a gray area. Dabbleverse, more like Gullyverse. Tombo Gullerino. Let me tell you about wooden doors. I don't know what that is. Mary Fagan in the Pencil Factory fiasco. They tried that over in Garland a couple years ago. It didn't end up very well for the people who had a problem with it. Nipples protruding. Muhammad Radio, a great song by Warren Zevon, who's now kind of in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, finally. Hit that doors button. There's too many quotes for me to get to. I'm going to have to be a little more judicious here. Don't worry about what I was doing in Cuba. A lot of people have said that. Let me see. Oh, Doom says, let me tell you about the Dabbleverse founded by Tom Gulley. I really didn't do that. Nubbler. Oh, the guy that made $800 can tell you want Nick Rekieta's essence tastes like Tom can. No, it's a different guy. It's a guy that likes cats. Let me tell you about the blood inside my crawl space. Oh, God. I want to see Tom's Toads in various area codes. All right. Let me tell you about getting your gullies out. Can't do that anymore, actually. Well, it's getting closer. I got to start working out again. Let me tell you about the AIDS virus. I got Monte Cristos and Cohibas. Doom is the dirty needle. I don't know about that. Let's hear more comedy shaman roasting. Let me tell you about the USS Liberty. Well, yeah, Operation Northwoods. These are all, Tom's got the moves like a Jagger. The Samson option. Israeli dancers. Come on now. I saw an animal throwing rocks at me once, howling deep woods. It doesn't prove it, but yes, we're talking about Bigfoot. We're talking about Pervadan. 3 floating cubes, Zener cards. Let's see, Turkish bathhouses. Let me tell you about Tom Gulley. All right, I'm gonna get the link pinned here. Whoa! Almost screwed the show up totally there. I'm gonna get rid of that video first of all, but I'm gonna get the link going here. There it is. I'm gonna pin it to the top of the YouTube studio real fast here. Nobody try to pull a fast one, please. Or I'll just figure the thing out where I put everybody on stage and then put a picture up. I think I know how to do that. Pretty sure I do. Let me see here. It'll just take a second, folks. Sorry I can't get to all of these comments. They're just coming thick and fast. Phrasing. I knew that would make you all happy to hear me say that. All right. All right, here we go. There's the old. Let me pin that thing there. Pin the message. We don't get a lot of people, so we don't have Skype anymore. We don't get a lot of people that are on the air with us. So you're going to have to be patient with me. Technology and things of that nature. Let's see. We always talk about this. Several episodes, 100 episodes in. Well, you got to watch Star Trek Continues. If you haven't seen Star Trek Continues, you got to go to it and watch it. It's on YouTube. Just type in Star Trek Continues. Let me tell you about the eyes and ears in my walls. Leon Kennedy does know that I talk about because you made the official song. You did. I feel like we're in the Kevin Brennan show with all the chat reading. Well, oh, here we go. Here's a special guest. Right there is Rumpled Trench Coat. Good to see you, buddy. Hey, take that, intelligent counterspell. Ha!
Well, congratulations on 500, Tom. I'm happy to have been there for about 498 of them, it feels like.
I'm sure it does if you're having trouble sleeping. But no, thank you. You've been a tremendous supporter and just funny in the room, and always glad to have you here with a little more insight than I have. And if people think that Columbo's the only show that you know, they're wrong. Because yesterday I was talking about Mirror, Mirror, and I didn't want to say Mirror, Mirror because that would show how nerdy I am. But you immediately, boom, Mirror, Mirror. And I don't know if you've seen Star Trek Continues. The episode they did off of Mirror, Mirror is, oh my God, it's incredible.
I haven't yet, but I love the concept. And that is that there were so many episodes of the original Star Trek that just kind of ended for us, but clearly didn't end for the people on the show, as evidenced by when they made The Wrath of Khan, the movie. Yeah. It showed, some terrible things happened after the so-called happy ending. Things kept on going. So I'm very much looking forward to it. I haven't had a chance to watch it, but I did bookmark that channel.
Oh, dude, if you watch one, you won't be able to stop. If you're a big Star Trek fan, I'd say there's 3 to 4 of the 11 that, well, and even the last two-parter, words can't describe, if you're an original Star Trek fan, how amazing this show is, how perfectly they did it. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely have to check that out. I think I'd even mentioned in the chat that I had pulled it up just to kind of make sure it got into my history so that I wouldn't forget. And the first few seconds was just that great, their haircut, the red sky lit, the close up. It's like, wow, they really captured a lot of the original Star Trek in just a few seconds there. So no, I'm very much looking forward to that.
You forget that you're watching not even a reboot, but an extension. You do. And they don't imitate the people that did the original show. Because it would have been real easy to make it cartoony and over the top. No, they don't. They just do a performance that is, I can't even explain it. It's so well done. And it does kind of help that James Doohan's son plays Scotty, because he looks almost exactly like him and he sounds extremely like him. So anyway, so what's going on with your program? What's the new next thing that's going to come up? And of course, everybody here is waiting for the Trenchies or the Rumpleds or whatever you're going to call it at the end of the first.
I'm leaning toward the folkies at this point, just because I kind of like that. But yeah, we're definitely doing that. My sister, as you alluded to, also has a pretty intense job, and it's starting to wind down a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I think we'll be able to do a little more in the near future here. One thing that I think is a little exciting, and not that I'm necessarily a big fan of the platform, but it does allow a little more freedom. And I'm thinking we might want to do the occasional Rumble episode where we do a watch along of the Columbo episode, because we can do that on Rumble and we just can't on YouTube. But we'll still continue to do all of our regular episodes the same way we've been doing them on YouTube, which is honestly more of an audio podcast. But yeah, we've got 2 in the can. I just have to finish editing. But the next one coming out is the Donald Pleasance Any Old Port in a Storm, which was Peter Falk's favorite episode, and with good reason. It's just an outstanding episode. And at the very end is a little treat from Looney Tunes critic. He did me a big favor and did a little very small, don't get too excited, very small little something, but anyone anyone who's a fan of his will absolutely appreciate it.
Oh, he's
and
amazing.
I appreciate it greatly that he did that for me. That was really very cool of him.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's amazing.
Yeah.
He is absolutely amazing. Well, that's going to be, first of all, I'll watch the Rumbleds, when you do that. That'll be cool to do a watch along with you guys. And then everybody wants to see your guys' take on whatever categories. I mean, that's half the fun of it, is coming up with the categories of best villain, worst villain, could have got away with it, whatever you're going to come up with. You'll do it better than me.
Dumbest mistake. I think we're definitely going to include a dumbest mistake category, because there was some really brilliant killers made such stupid mistakes. Just really terribly dumb.
I guess you could have a best ending line or a best and best diss might be another good one, both on the part of the guest villain and on, because Columbo, a lot of the time, he was not vindictive and he wasn't really mean-spirited, but he would sometimes say, yes, so you did, as a matter of fact, if you had, but you guys will figure it out.
One of my favorite things he would do is at the very end, when all pretense is gone, and he'd say, oh, no, there was a witness there. Oh, not Mrs. So-and-so, you killed her. But we have, and the witness usually is the killer himself, who accidentally proved that he was at the scene. So, there are definitely some real fun moments.
He was just really blunt sometimes. You're exactly right. Oh, now Mrs. Johnson, you killed her. But, it's really great. Anyway. Any old way. I do appreciate all your support and stuff. And
well, thank you.
500.
I know. Congratulations. I definitely wanted to hop on for that. So I appreciate you having me on as a guest. And, I don't know if anybody else had popped on yet or.
Not yet. Not yet. We do have some very generous people. A guy that just got here this time, Turing test failer.
Very nice.
$50. Wow. Let me tell you about payment processor fees. Yeah, they do take a bite. They really do take a bite. Thank you very much. And, I'm going to do a show on Alan Turing now. There you go. Alan, there's a really good movie about him with Bernard Cumberbatch. Or Benedict Cumberbatch, yes. That does it. People are giving him the high fives. Very generous.
That was very generous. Generous.
Extremely generous, and you're extremely generous yourself. So the word is Tom Gulley. Wait a minute. Word is Tom Gulley smears raspberry jam between his toes to relax.
I don't think it's that kind of toe jam.
It's more of a marmalade. Wow, this one here. Your wife or your girlfriend, Nick, you'll have to send me some pictures. Call Jesse P.S. Well, he's got the link. He doesn't want to be on this show, Jesse P.S., and beat me about the head and neck. Let me tell you about Tom Gulley. He's not done with those kids, not by a long shot. Yeah, I'm kind of like the old Mr. McGuff or whatever on Scooby-Doo. Did you hear about Doom? I haven't heard about Doom. I know he's an imminent, but let me see. Oh, Smendrick. Let me tell you about Mookie Kramer and the 8 Balls. I don't know what that is, but thank you for the $10. Very nice of you. Let me tell you about neck bolts. Yeah, Rumpled, there's a lot of people that think I look like Frankenstein. I don't disagree with them. People saying fan of your podcast. There you
thank
go.
You so much. Very nice of you. Thank you.
Yeah. And yes, Mirror Mirror is an original Star Trek thing.
That is my favorite of the Star Trek series. I think they're all very good, but I guess my heart always belongs to the original just because it was so good. I watched it so much growing up as a kid. The other ones I think took it in interesting directions, but for me, Star Trek is Kirk, Bones, Spock, Scotty,
There's so many. It's hard, because there's funny episodes like Tribbles.
Right.
And then there's other, one of my favorites that a lot of people talk about is the one where Kirk is accused of a crime. And the computer says, and it's with Elisha Cook Jr. from the Maltese Falcon and stuff.
Yeah, the Weasel, the Gunzel. Yes.
Yeah. And it's the one where Kirk walks in and there's all these books and he's like, why don't you just have him? He turns on the computer. This electronic thing here is where the words really exist, and books, and that's one of my favorite episodes too. It'd be hard for me to pin one down. Uhura, says my good friend Jesse P.S., who is going to join us now. So brace yourself. Just brace yourself. Joining us now is the legend that is the well-known internet personality who wants to destroy the Dabbleverse and bully the internet. And that is, of course, never showing his actual face on my show, although he has the best set of anyone on the internet, and that is, of course, Jesse P.S.
Uhuru! I heard you guys say Uhuru before.
Did I? I don't.
Well,
recall
hello.
saying that.
I think Rumpled Trench Coat. Hi, nice to meet you. But I think he said it. He was talking about Star Trek. And he said Uhuru. So shout out to Ghazi, Kodzo, and all my Black Hebrew Israelites and everybody out there holding it down for Turtle Island. Uhuru. Is that what you were talking about?
Probably not.
Unless they were the communications officer, probably not.
From Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a black lady. She's probably into that, right?
Is she still with us?
She's unfortunately did pass away.
I think she was one of the recent
I
ones.
think the only two left are Takei and
Shatner.
And Shatner, but isn't Chekhov?
Well, Chekhov is still Chekhov is two. I just kind of
Well, that's
be honest,
Chekhov's
I forget
gun.
about
That's they teach you that in school when you're learning about writing. He's gonna come up in the last act again at some point.
Chekhov sideburns.
Willie McDuff is here for the long-awaited Tom Gulley PPP crossover. I don't think that'll ever happen, but you never know.
Nice to meet you, Rumpled Trench Coat. Though I have not listened to your show, but I've seen you in Tom's chat so many times, and
Nice to meet you too. I thought you were very funny when you were on Tom's show before too.
I like your bed.
Yeah. Oh, thank you very much.
Is there enough room for maybe one more?
Sure, come on over.
I was talking about Tom. Me?
All right.
What?
Hey,
It's
I don't know.
Tom's big day. He's at his big 500. So.
Yeah.
Well, he can watch in the corner. We're good.
Oh, Tom getting cucked on his big 500. Damn, Tom. Rumpled Trench Coat is just fucking.
I
sitting
would
in
not.
the
I
chair.
wouldn't be there. I would surreptitiously get his sister's number from.
Do you have a corner chair in there somewhere? I didn't see before, but
No, a desk chair.
Just for that, I'm not showing my toes now. Just for that.
oh, you got to show the toes. Look at this. We've got almost 80 people watching. We got a lot of people in here. There's people in the chat. How many likes do we have?
I'm not silly enough to think that that's not because of you, and I do appreciate that. I really
I
do.
don't know if that has anything to do with me, but I think it has to do with this being the big 500.
It's
People are excited.
totally because of you.
I don't think so. I'll tell you what it will be for is those toesy woesies if you pop them out.
Now, I see if I do that, I'm going to make a big production of it. I'm not just going to have it be a
roll down those tube socks and let's see what you're working with.
Well, they're not. They don't have to. I only have the ankle highs on.
Oh, really?
I don't wear the
I
long-
honestly thought you'd be a compression socks kind of guy.
No, I'm a compression shorts kind of guy.
Nice. I'd like to see what's under those too.
Well, you know why those are necessary. You can tell it's PPP because he likes Star Trek. Well, I just like Star Trek because it's better.
Tom,
see.
I had to step away. Unfortunately, I had to step away for a minute and deal with my stupid rat children. But I left some suggestions in the chat for upcoming episodes for the next.
I read them all.
Did you read them? Okay, good.
Yes.
I was wondering, did you write any of them down, and maybe you'll do some of these for the next.
Let me go back up here. If you could say them again, I'll write it.
Did you get? Let me tell you about Operation Northwoods.
I know about that one, and I'm gonna write it down, and we can do it.
Did you get? Let me tell you about the Samson option.
I already know about Samson option, and we can do that. And also, one of the ones that you wrote down, I'm definitely doing. It's coleslaw.
Oh, good. And then did you get? Let me tell you about Israeli dancers.
I did see the Israeli dancers one.
Okay, I would love to see that episode. And then did you get? Let me tell you about Zener cards.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I also you have a lot of stuff that doesn't really exist.
What do you mean?
That I'm
Zener
happy.
Cards exist.
I'm happy to do a show about, but that don't mean the things that people think they mean.
What do you mean? Such as?
Well, we could just go back to Bigfoot. That's really what I'm talking about.
You already did Bigfoot, and I'm not going to relitigate Bigfoot's existence. Every time, you know what the craziest part of the whole Bigfoot thing is with you, Tom?
Is I keep bringing it up.
No, you did. Well, one, I'm starting to think maybe you are sexually attracted to Squatch. But
why would I have to be sexually attracted to him by bringing him up? I did one on Lint. I'm not sexually attracted to him.
The only confirmed real one is female, so it's okay if you're sexually attracted to it. That's Patty.
Well, that's okay for you. I don't believe it exists. How can I be sexually attracted to something that I don't believe exists?
This is what's so crazy about that is every time you say it, and you said it on this episode, and you did it the same thing, every time you have on screen a picture of fucking Bigfoot.
We have to reference what I'm talking about.
Exactly. So how does there a photo of Bigfoot if Bigfoot doesn't exist?
Because it's the hoax.
Frame 537.
It's the hoax. That's what you show. You can't show a picture of nothing.
Next, you're going to tell me that Operation Northwoods is a hoax.
No. Why don't you talk about something real that, Gulf of Tonkin incident?
Next, you're going to tell me that how much the Holocaust is.
No, I won't ever tell you that.
But did you get? Let me tell you about the Turkish bathhouses, Jimmy.
I did get that, and I got the other one about some other thing you wanted me to tell you about, Jimmy. That was sitting on my lap and all that. But Gulf of Tonkin. See, I should do a show. I'm going to put that down. Gulf of Tonkin.
Gulf of Tonkin.
See, now that's a real
everything I said was
conspiracy. Real conspiracy.
Operation Northwood's 100% confirmed real. The dancing Israelis 100% confirmed real.
Doopa has congratulated us on 500 shows. Wow. So happy, Rumpled.
And sent $500 too. Wow, that's awesome.
Yes. Rumpled Trench Coat and Jesse are on the show tonight. Yeah, you're very popular on the show, Jesse. I mean, all of my guests are more popular than I am.
Rumpled Trench Coat.
He's more popular on the show.
And
my good friend the Wolf is here with us.
The Wolf is here.
Yeah.
Now the Wolf will tell you about Operation Northwoods. He can tell you right now that was real. I think he's listening to the stream and not the stream yard.
It's hard to say.
Caller, turn down your radio.
And thank you, Dupa. I'll sneak that in while you guys are talking.
Well, the Wolf is here, but he might not be speaking to us right now for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, let me tell you about Hyperborea. What about that one?
It's a fact. Well, I think I've got that one written down my
gents.
list. Yes.
All caught up.
So, yeah. It's what did you ask him about Operation Northwood or what? Oh, he's disconnected again. He's got sketchy internet. It's a fact. People 6'5" and over having that's not a fact.
I think it is.
Nobody knows about the Gulf of Tonkin. Still putting out bangers, whatever. But yes, Jesse, you've been quite a great supporter, and we always get really good.
What about? Let me tell you about Deep Throat.
I already did that one.
Which Deep Throat?
The movie.
No, I meant the guy.
You mean Mark Felt? Are you talking
Mark
about
Felt.
Mark Felt?
Yeah, you did one on the porno?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Tom. Yuck. You saw Deep Throat. You've watched it.
I had to watch it in film school.
You had to. Oh man, that must have been a tough one. Oh, what a
We
shitty
did
homework
well.
assignment.
We watched film censorship, and we watched that and Devil and Miss
That
Jones.
sounds a lot like film uncensorship.
Well, no, those films were heavily censored.
Okay, you must.
There were parts of the country where they could not be seen.
Which parts of down south?
No, pretty much.
I meant that metaphorically.
Yeah, they wouldn't show the down south parts. So, Wolf, you're back with us.
He's listening to the stream, Tom. He's not going to be here for a minute.
He's having issues with his connection, I'm sure. Anyway, well, we could do Dyatlov Pass.
What about? Let me tell you about Oregon.
Dyatlov Pass. There's been like more than one instance very similar to that one.
I don't know what that one is actually. What is it?
Those are the Russian students. Do you know about this, Rumpled? Those are the Russian students that went on a sort of an expedition in the wintertime. And when they found them, there's all this crazy, how did that happen stuff, which some of it's kind of provable by hypothermia, but some of it not very provable.
I do know about that one.
So, yeah. So here's Lenny. I hope Lenny's not going to pull a fast one on us.
I would
Leonardo.
never. I would never. Happy 500.
He's also listening to the stream instead. What? Caller, turn down your radio.
Well, the Wolf just left. I mean, he's having probably computer problems. But Lenny, thank you so much for showing up. I appreciate it.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you just fine.
All right. Somebody said that I was listening to the radio. I am not. All right.
All right, then.
Yeah. Happy 500. Dyatlov Pass incident. Very interesting one. For sure.
Yeah, I like that one. That's
Hooked
that's
from the inside with like the power of the sun or something. You know?
yes. And then all the missing 411 stuff.
You could do 411 shows on that.
Probably.
Wow. That would carry you through almost all the way to the big 1,000.
Do you know about the missing 411, Jesse?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm the reason they went missing.
David Paredes or whatever his name is.
I've got a lot to do with that case, actually.
Do you get a big listener to George Norrie, or are you more of an Art Bell guy?
Neither. I've never listened to Coast in any serious or earnest way. I've heard a few clips here and there. I'm familiar with John Titor and some of the more classic ones, but no, I've never really listened to any of that. It's not really my wheelhouse at all.
Let me tell you about Coast to Coast. That's a good one. George Norrie is boring. Man, George Norrie stole that show away from Art Bell. Art Bell said, I'm going to retire and live with this Filipino girl. And George, you take it over for a while. And then when Art wanted to come back, George went, nah, that's okay. I'm just going to keep a hold of it.
Probably smart to do it, although it did kill the man in the end.
Who, Art?
Yeah.
Do you know the story of Art Bell where his wife was like, she had something, and
one of them woman diseases.
No, it was a regular person.
She was on her monthly. She was on her moon.
Well, she died, and rather than taking her to like the local mortuary, he like wrapped her up in a blanket and drove hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles with her in the back of the RV back to where he lived.
Yeah. Let me tell you about proper corpse disposal.
Right. So it sounds a little sketchy to me.
Well, he had to make sure she was still dead. You bury someone in the wrong dirt and they don't stay dead.
Not Jared is here. I don't know why it's not.
Well,
Jared.
Who is here then?
I don't know.
Hello, Tom.
Oh, it is Jared.
Oh, this is
Hey.
the guy from Subway.
Hey,
No, I almost didn't recognize him. He wasn't snoring.
You're funny, Tom. Congratulations, by the way.
Well, thank you,
500.
and thank you for the very kind super chat.
That was from Jay. I'm not Jared. I'm another guy.
Okay, well, if you see that guy, thank him.
Yeah, he's handsome.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're gay or what?
Yeah, I'm gay for myself. Yes.
You said that wasn't you.
Well, right, but I lied.
So I took you at face value, and
okay,
now
this is-
what? Now I'm being burned on air?
No, it's more like my coming out show on Tom's 500.
You know what I think is amazing about the Pot Awful cult, and this is something that could never happen on my show, and that is that, like, say a guy like, and I know he's not here, but a guy like Jared could have carnal relations with another follower of the show, like
It's true.
like named
James.
well, I think it was one of them was
Citizen M.
was a girl that
No.
wears improperly fitting brassieres and things, and
I'm a homosexual.
Are you a homosexual?
Are you a lesbian?
Are you-
Lesbians?
Lesbians.
so you're a beta.
Like white people?
Do you love your mama?
You're not an alpha like I am.
Rumble Trench Coat. You love white people?
Where are the white women at?
Whoa!
Oh, hey now, come
You're
on.
an all-star. By the way, I like Abracadaver's idea. Let me tell you about Polybius.
Is that what's his name? Jesse Lee Peterson.
Yeah.
So you were named after him, right?
He's my father.
You need to forgive your father.
Why do you think I've got this hair lip?
He was born on a plantation.
Did you ever watch Soul Train?
I like picking cotton.
That's a terrible.
That's fun.
I love it when he calls himself an alpha. It's like, you never said that around an alpha.
He was. Now you should do a. Let me tell you about Jesse Lee Peterson. He was, accused of, and I think
Oh boy!
legitimately so. He was accused of.
Here we go.
No, he had a house where he would keep young
I knew
young
it.
boys.
Everything always.
That's 100% true. I'm
No,
not.
it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's
It
is true.
Whether
Guys
it was
always say
true or
that.
not, he was
He was
had some
accused.
serious accusations that he was abusing his power over young men in the political commentary sphere.
Right. You guys all, you know,
me.
you guys got some sort of Google alert for
Yeah.
accusations of certain kinds that
Yeah.
it's just immediate.
You want to suck my dick?
Oh, hey.
I have
hey.
a
I'm not
child,
a-
so I got to be careful. I watch out for that.
Yeah, you got to watch out who you let take care of your kid. You might want to ask
Just
Jesse Lee Peterson.
Stay away from people that talk that way. Just stay away from people that talk that way.
You mind if I babysit your kid?
Yeah, I would say that's a no on anything. It's like,
You gotta change your diaper.
you want me to make you a sandwich?
Your baby gay?
Yeah, he's so you're gay, he has people that are from the LGBTQ community on, and the very first question.
Where is that community, by the way? Where do you go to get there?
There HOAs
It's just
for
like
that? Or?
it's just any people that like model trains community. You know, they're a community in the
they're
larger
both autistic, is what you're saying.
in the larger
In their
sense. You know, they're all over the place, but they gather on the internet.
They're all
Yeah.
autistic and elderly. That's what you're saying.
There's a good one. Read that one, Jesse.
You need to forgive your mama for scaring your father away.
Yeah, he does. And I will say that my good friends at Not Even a Show have pranked him a million times. He does not have a good call screener.
Yeah,
Shocking, isn't it?
He's pretty easy to get it.
Yeah, you can get there pretty
I don't
pretty
think-
easily.
The problem with prank calling Jesse Lee Peterson is I'm not sure he's aware that it's happening.
Oh, he's definitely not.
He doesn't really react in any way, so you might as well have prank called, your bedroom wall or whatever.
He doesn't react to the people in the room with him.
He does if they're sexy enough.
There you go. Let's see if the wolf's back with us.
I think he's joined us on mobile this time.
Yeah, my computer completely froze up.
I'm sorry.
Hello.
Well,
Hello, Cole.
I had a question for you, Tom.
Yeah.
Any update on those new T-shirts coming out?
I just gave the update. So Cafe Press feels like scont is something dirty. And I had to explain to them twice. No, it's just a guy named Scott that can't pronounce his own name sometimes, and he said scont, and so that's the joke. So they passed it from one person to another person, and then I responded to them, and that's where it's at right now.
What about just the regular old "What's it to you" shirt?
Well, those are both submitted at the same time, so they're kind of in the same,
hung up. Yeah.
Now, Wolf here has known me since 1981.
Damn, back when you were under 6 feet tall.
No.
No, that was back in the days of the Greeks and the Romans.
It was back in the days of the Greeks and the Romans. Let's see here. Was
that awkward for you guys going through slavery times, or?
It wasn't awkward for me.
No, right. It was a great joy.
That's good,
nice,
Tom.
and that's why they call him Mr. 500. People.
Yeah.
That's good, Tom.
No.
This is why we tune in.
No, see, the Wolf being in Indiana was always a crowd favorite during sporting events.
There's nothing better than being the crowd favorite.
Oh, because he was better than everybody?
Well, no, because he'd go to a wrestling meet and he would be the only, black wrestler there. And as you can imagine, he was instantly a crowd favorite in the KKK areas of Indiana.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, you like a good
When
heel.
I say crowd, when I say crowd favorite, that means exactly the opposite.
Yes. He was not a crowd favorite. Let's see here.
It did, however, give me the opportunity to practice, as you know, Tom, my favorite saying. Whenever you're in a bad situation, you have to do everything in your power to make it even worse.
Damn.
It's true.
It's the turn.
Mm-hmm. It's very true. Very, very true. So, anyway, 500 and so happy. And so that'll about do it for tonight. And you guys have been great. And
We just got started, Tom.
What are you talking about? What?
We just got here. Come on.
What about? Let me tell you about the Grand Wizard.
Yeah, did you know the Grand Wizard in Indiana? I heard
No, no. I've never been to Elwood. No, I don't know any of those people.
Have you ever been to Jake?
I think 2 or 3 of them were from Indianapolis.
Really? I wouldn't know. I wasn't. It wasn't that.
Yeah, I think 2 or 3 of them were from Indy, and their chapter was in Bloomington, along with the gay relation or gay rights chapter.
Well, you had to go out of the. In the big city, you couldn't be out in the open with it. If you went to Martinsville or somewhere like that, they don't even hide it there.
All right, now here's my thing with the KKK.
Oh boy, there's my favorite. That's my favorite town.
Here's my thing with the KKK, right? How do we know that under them hoods it's not a bunch of black guys?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, the Grand Wizard
In
does wear a
actuality, it
purple
probably
robe,
is.
right? Isn't the Grand Wizard's robe purple?
This could be like a big prank you guys are pulling.
Right.
It's the Hebrew Israelites.
That makes sense.
Oh yeah, yeah. I got those guys around here.
They would definitely all be wearing purple and gold if it was the Hebrew Israelites.
That's right.
You're welcome, roller skater Texas girl. Well, Wolf, tell him about the newsletter that you accidentally got put on the mailing list for.
Uh-oh.
Oh, the glorious publication of all time. The Thunderbolt of Justice.
Whoa, that sounds awesome.
Were there two of them
Can
right
I
next
sign
to each
up?
other?
Because I have a lot of firearm stuff and I do smithy work and I order stuff. I got on the list.
Nice.
And I get this, it's like a highly glossy, green colored, almost like a tiny magazine. And
digest size.
well, it was like, I don't know how old you are, but like one of the thick comic books of the days where it's like a
Digest
Tarzan
size.
with a bunch of stories in it or something. So
Yeah,
I open it up and I start reading it. All minorities are criminals in this publication. So it would have like it would have a story about two guys robbing a place. And of course, the clear minority was a criminal. And if it was a white guy, they'd say, well, we're not sure what he is, but he too is probably a mixed criminal.
Well, I mean, the odds are. It's not
And then it had a section called "Gay as Folks," and there was a report about two guys getting it on and making so much noise that the neighbors called the police.
Oh, I do the same.
And they were of course fined for disturbing the peace. And in a small caption below, the editor put, these two criminals should have gotten 6 months hard labor.
That would stop them from being gay, being in jail 6 months.
Probably.
Well, not just in jail, but hard labor as well. Like they're in Leavenworth or something, busting rocks.
They were busting. It sounded
All
like.
Caucasian women were referred to as Nordic princesses.
That's pretty noble of them to call them that.
A
That's
flower of the South. Hey, what didn't they have like borders on that paper that were like barbed wire and stuff?
There was a section on the Jewish criminals, and it was surrounded by tiny little nooses all the way around the page.
Is this still in publication?
Jared, isn't your job like doing subscriptions to magazines and stuff? Is there any way you can get me signed up for this?
Yeah, I'm looking into it right now.
Okay.
This is great.
That sounds
It's
awesome.
from West Virginia. It's from the good old boys in the hills of West Virginia.
West Virginia was implied in all of this. You didn't have to say that.
Oh boy.
You could kind of tell, yeah. There's like little coal miner fingerprints on the outside of the envelope. They mailed it in.
The first edition was on a trapper.
I remember them blue boys coming down to Virginia, coming
easy.
down to steal all precious resources,
But you got
pervert them to their own perverse use, steal the flower of the South.
You got to commend them for they've got a passion and they really put in the time and the effort and the labor.
Well, they're really out to protect our Nordic princesses
and so
from the criminals.
And by the way, Tom, you were saying before the show started, everybody go and donate to the Shiloh Hendricks Fund.
I never said that. I don't know what it is.
Send, go. Let me tell you about Shiloh Hendricks is coming up soon. We're doing
I think you're a little more easy on the South, since you are from the capital of the South, Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah, of course I'm easy. Well, because I know that it's all you Yankees love giving the South a hard time when I've lived
Oh, excuse me, sir. You mean northern trash?
yeah, I lived in both, and it's about the same. Okay, it's not. You don't cross the magic, Mason-Dixon, and suddenly everybody's less racist.
All right, let's look into this a little bit. Where have you lived below the Mason-Dixon line, other than Virginia?
Lots of places.
Well, where?
Oh, I'm not going to say.
I wouldn't either if I were you. And northern, you've lived in real northern city. You lived in New York, and Santa Cruz, right?
Well, that's not north. I mean,
well, but it wasn't even a Civil War thing there. But the point being, those are large cities. If you've never lived in Biloxi, Mississippi.
But I've been to all these places. I've been everywhere, man.
You've been to
everywhere in the song. I've been to.
Yeah.
I've been to.
You've been to the Ukalaka, Okalaka, Marcus. Yeah, you've been to all of them.
I've been to Yakov Smirnoff's Comedy Club
in Branson, Missouri.
Right. I've been pretty much every single place you can go. I have not been to Alabama, which is probably like. Like when people are making fun of the South, what they're really making fun of is Alabama.
Well,
Mississippi's not as bad. It's not.
I think they ought to just not have a state line and just make it one Alabama.
That doesn't fix anything.
And I think you call it Alabama, don't you? If you're from the South, I don't.
I mean, I do, but I don't know if is that everyone? I thought that was just me and my dad.
It's mostly everybody. Willie McDuff says
I'm kind of confused here. I wasn't aware that the country extended beyond the Mason-Dixon line. I didn't know there was a country north of the Mason-Dixon line.
Well, there's real America, and then there's everything else, and that's pretty much the line.
Willie McDuff says he's from the South, and he won't even go to Alabama.
Yeah, and honestly, West Virginia does get. I mean, I just did this, but it does get more shit than it deserves.
Well, the North. I think we just won the war because we had shoes.
Well, the big pile of shoes is the winner in all the wars. It's always a big pile of shoes that determines what happens to history after.
Well, all I know is that I'm an American, and the Confederate States attacked my country. So I don't differentiate between the Confederates and the Japanese during World War II and the Germans and the Italians during World War II. They are all the same to me. They attacked my country.
Well, they were attacked first.
We'll get rid of those Italians one day.
Yes.
Don't worry.
Yeah, their entire system of industry was removed from them. And
it was the law.
A giant, retarded, sweeping legislation.
The Civil War didn't start with the Emancipation
Proclamation. No, it started with the attempt to make that happen.
That's the way the government works.
It's not the way the republic works, which is what America actually is.
Well, I said the government.
The government. Right. Yeah. This is the problem. Is that
we have elected officials.
This is the problem. Is that
federal democratic republic.
The Union forgot that the entire point of the Revolution was that it was a republic, and that while they were federated, states, there was not supposed to be this sweeping federal government. That is, again, listen, I'm not trying to make the states' rights argument, but states' rights. Okay.
Well, if you read the secession speeches,
I was trying to avoid saying states' rights.
If you read the secession speeches of all of those, then you'll know that the issue was slavery. It wasn't states' rights.
I'll tell you this much: the issue was states' rights, and
yes.
I'll also tell you this: the founding fathers would have agreed.
No.
Oh yeah.
Just the ones that own slaves.
Which is all of them. But
not all of them.
I'll tell that to the wolf. But
I think the issue is that our friends from Europe decided that they saw a nice profit that could be made and caused some issues to occur that caused the war once again.
And by the way, it wasn't the South that decided to import slaves originally. It was all the.
I like how you use import.
That's what,
like it's wine or something.
Wasn't that done by the pirates?
They weren't considered
That was a good vintage year there.
in the lexicon of the time.
I remember 1843. There started a beautiful South started receiving some help from the other countries across the world.
This is why they call you Uncle Tom, because you're the Uncle Tom of white people.
Well,
hey, Uncle Tom was the good guy.
Yeah.
Don't you mean Sambo? Why can no one ever get that right?
I know. He thinks I'm Simon Legree when he's really Simon Legree.
No, I'm saying the way people use the term Uncle Tom.
Anybody that's an uncle named Tom is going to be called Uncle Tom.
Well, but I'm saying specifically the reason your nephews call you Uncle Tom is because you sell out white people.
How do I do that?
Well, by making fun of the real American Southerners, for one, and for not fighting.
Well, they're not real
rights.
Americans.
And again, if it had something to do with slavery, then how come
they attacked America?
If it had something to do with slavery, then how come Robert E. Lee willingly, before the war was over, gave up his slaves and gave them their freedom, and Ulysses S. Grant kept his even after the war was over?
Because he was a real jerk.
Yeah, well, then
that guy was a real.
It has nothing to do with North, and it's got nothing to do with North and South.
It was Grant's wife that actually owned the slave, and he let him go.
You know what? Grant had slaves in his family because his wife was, rich, and it was through her family, I believe. And he kept on. He held.
Yeah,
on
he let him go. He let the slaves go.
After
he didn't keep them.
Long after the war was over, while fighting the Civil
After
War,
the Northern Trash came down there and
Ulysses S. Grant
destroyed my supply of mint julep.
Slaves the entire time. He kept the slaves the entire time.
The Confederate
no good
States.
For nothing carpetbaggers come down there and messed up my mint julep field. No more sipping mint julep on the porch.
Well,
and let's not forget what Lincoln's actual plan was, by the way. If he hadn't gotten popped, there was a part 2 to the whole Emancipation Proclamation deal that never happened. And,
it's wonderful to hear the losing side try to recouch what happened.
Losing side.
I'm
not 500 years old like you are, Tom.
You're from the capital. You're from where the losing side was headquartered.
Yes,
right there. And those aren't real Americans. You said at the time those were the real Southern Americans. They weren't Americans. They said we don't want to be Americans.
Confederate States of America.
We're the Confederate States. Yes, and you engaged in an organized uprising against my country, the United States of America, a scurrilous backhanded attack upon Fort Sumter, and that's the problem.
America was already a confederacy before the Civil War. That's exactly the point.
If you say so.
They were confederate.
We were
Confederates.
There's a bunch of different names of it, but
America
we
was
were a
title,
representative federal republic is what we are. There's a couple other names of it, but they're democratic is never in it. Democracy, it is a form of democracy. It is not a true democracy.
I'm sure all these copes will get you out of the South Rising again, but it will happen, my friend.
Well, if it goes like the first time, I don't care.
It won't.
Could you guys clear something up for me? I've always been
Well, I hate to say it, but that Northern Trash has got all the gun manufacturers in their areas.
I've always been confused between the difference of an Uncle Tom and a monkey's uncle. Can you guys explain that to me?
I'll leave that one to Uncle Tom.
I don't know what either one of those things. You could probably ask Chat GPT, but the Confederate States of America.
I think the monkey's uncle is actually Black Sambo.
Yeah, what a great. Yeah, that was a great uprising. Way to go. Good one. Nice try.
It was actually pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually
horseshoes and hand grenades.
It was actually pretty close there. It was,
right till the end.
Kind of a coin flip.
Right till they got Sherman off the bench and said, "Just start burning everything to the
ground." Some of the bloodiest battles were the ones where the Union was wiped off of the face of the earth. But listen, it was either way, it was a brother war.
I go by who won. It's like we really had you in the first quarter. Well, so we won, though. I mean,
well, it's a lot like World War II. You go, oh, thank God we won, and then you realize what happened, and all the time afterwards, you go, did we?
Yeah, we did. Did we just? We just spent a lot of money rebuilding everybody's stuff, but
did we?
Yeah, we did. We did.
Mouse that roared.
Kaboom, kaboom.
Let me tell you about Pearl Harbor.
Let me. I've already done that show. Let me tell you about.
But you did the live version.
About the. Oh man, I had pictures from Japanese fighters and everything else in it.
That was cool. I was there for that.
Yeah,
not for Pearl Harbor.
The great part.
What about the movie?
The great part. This is not a great movie. The Midway movie was much more accurate. The great thing was about the Civil War was when Sherman. I was jogging in this park in Atlanta with my girlfriend at the time, and there was this, those historical markers that have the gold lettering on the black background, and they'll say whatever it is, and it was like the site of the Battle of such and such creek, and General Beauregard, whoever, turned back the Yankee horde at this creek and allowed for the Southern Army to blah, 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 blah. And we're standing there because we've been jogging and we're catching our breath for a second. And this family of, mom, dad, 3 kids, and he's like, kids, now see right here is where, blah, blah, blah. And I just went, and I turned to my girlfriend and said, but we still burnt this town to the ground, didn't we? I mean, we burnt every stick of wood in a 10-mile area to the ground. Where's that marker? Is there a marker here for that?
Well, Tom,
just a little handful of ashes.
Tom, I'll tell you, growing up where I did and going to all the places I've been to actually every single major Civil War battleground.
Really?
Every single one. And growing up where I did, just regular streets and regular places I would go to were all historical.
Yeah.
Battle, all places you heard of.
The War of Northern Aggression.
As we call it. Yeah. But I'll tell you, I've stood in places where
you stood where they fell,
where
hundreds of men lost their lives in a great
I stood where they fell
in a great avalanche of blood. I stood in
avalanche. Did you mean a tidal wave?
No, I mean exactly the way I said.
Did they have paper mache figures made by grade school kids up in places that show where the soldiers were?
It was blood, it was bone, it was viscera, it was entrails, it was an avalanche of flesh made rotten. And
an avalanche of newspaper.
When you're there, some of these places are now just someone's front yard. So there's
right.
I've been to some of these battlefields where they've got the historic plaque up, the black and white historic plaque, and you read about it, and in that starkly contrasted sign. You read about it and it's so black and white. It's like reading a history book. It doesn't mean anything to you. But when you're standing right there and you're in this person's yard and you realize that house was there then. That house was there when these men fell. And when you realize it really hits you that some of these men were shooting, yes, they were shooting at the quote unquote the enemy, but some of those enemies were their own kin, as a matter of fact.
Kinfolk. Kinfolk, yes. Well.
Especially as you get closer and closer to that border, some of these battles were absolute family tragedies.
Yeah.
And sometimes they were, in this particular yard I was standing in, the family that was there were fighting their own cousins and brothers.
Well, that happens all the time in the South, right?
The magnitude. Yeah, nobody's ever killed anyone in the North. What the fuck does that mean?
They weren't talking about marriages, Tom.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that's again the West Virginia only.
Did you run up and knock on their door and point and go,
That's not a Southerner thing. That's a mountain people thing. It's different. And this is the problem. A lot of you Northerners can't get through your stupid head. It's like if I treated all of you like you're like, oh, you stupid guinea.
Did you run up and knock on their door?
It's not.
To be fair, I am a stupid.
Did you run up and knock on their door and point and say, "I stood where they fell"?
I didn't have to knock on their door. The people, it was an old coot that lived there that, he acted like he could remember it or something, but he was out there with everybody. He was helping to tell the tale. But when you're standing there, you feel that gravity. You feel the absolute, tragedy of it all. You realize.
Oh, I certainly felt it at the OK Corral with those cheesy-looking paper mache figures. It looked like they were made by 6-year-olds.
Yeah, this isn't that. This is like a real thing. And the weight, the gravity.
Are you saying the OK Corral wasn't real?
I'm saying it was. I mean,
hey,
when I say real,
where they fell.
When I say real, I mean no one cares. But the gravity of the situation really overcomes you in that moment.
Why do you never see a young coot?
Well, coots are specifically geezers. It's a form of geezer.
I got you.
But
well,
anyway,
some of them are pleased
as you're slowly realizing that you might be standing on, grass that was essentially fertilized by the damned of that battle. And you start to realize just how silly the whole thing. Like, why not just keep slaves at that point?
Well, you also
pleased with fire on the surface, but pugnacious underneath.
Well, you also owe a great debt to the folks in the North, because you know how if you burn a forest down, it grows back even stronger. Think of all those cities that we made better by burning them to the ground.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Black Wall Street. Good luck with that argument, Tom.
No, it's the truth. We burn it to the ground, absolutely to the ground. And, that's the argument that people make for World War II.
Tell that
if we only had one more, if we could have made those jets a little sooner, it would have been much different. It's like ifs and buts were candy and nuts.
Wait, are you saying
every day would be Christmas? Well, that's what you're saying about the Civil War. It was pretty close. It was pretty darn close.
I zoned out for a second and you started doing a German accent. Are you saying that burning Jewish people made them grow back like more so?
If they just had one more canister of Pervitin, they could have gotten those jets up in the air.
Or
I don't understand the point you're making.
I'm saying it's revisionist to say that if the Germans had one more ball bearing factory, or the South had just been able to hold out that winter or whatever. No. Have you been to Appomattox?
Of course.
Did you like the gift shop? Sorry.
My grandmother lived in Appomattox. I didn't.
Oh, really? So, like, you got to go there for Christmas and Thanksgivings, and then just be reminded of the losing area that you grew up in and the culture that surrounded you that was just losers that picked a fight that they couldn't win.
They didn't pick a fight. They didn't do anything.
Well, sure they did. They attacked Fort Sumter.
Why?
You have to ask them. I wasn't there.
So you know that happened, but I have to ask that you don't know the why. You don't know what caused. You think they just went?
Kind of, pretty much. I know the reasons. I know the reasons they said, but I don't. I can't get in. I can't get into there.
What are the reasons?
Well, all you have to do is read all the secession speeches.
Okay,
man.
What are the reasons they said?
It's slavery, 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 slavery. That's all of the secession speeches, every one of them to a fault. All these people go, it was states' rights. They don't mention states' rights. They mention the economic impact of slavery.
That's one of the rights.
Well, not. That's the thing, is it wasn't a right.
Well, it was.
Well, everybody has to obey the Constitution.
Apparently not. Up until the magical moment, like, what do you mean?
The South was just mad that they couldn't continue to indenture other human beings.
You say that as if the North didn't continue not letting them vote and doing the same with women. By the way, like
nobody ever said we were perfect.
Okay,
but we were us, the United States of America. There's a whole lot of things that have been done throughout the history of the country that people didn't just go, I'm just going to go ahead
No. You can't say United States of America and then not also include yourself in the losers. You're part of the losers.
No, I'm from the North.
Number one, the United States includes the South, so congrats.
It does now.
You adopted loserdom.
But we never
seceded. Hey, good job, retard. You adopted being a loser.
We forgave you. We forgave you.
Your loser ass lost to a bunch of fucking, jungle Asians in Vietnam. I mean, come on. How do you not?
That was a police action.
It wasn't a war. That one wasn't officially a war.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, and it was about states' rights, right?
And you guys were part of that
just
too.
Because Malcolm there wanted to clean out all the dumb.
And you guys
sending them to Vietnam.
You guys were part of that too. By the way,
just because they don't bother getting Congress to sign off on wars anymore.
No, don't play the shell game. We were talking exactly North and South. The South was part of the United States during Vietnam. I don't know if you're aware of this, but the South was part of the United States during Vietnam.
When were you part of Vietnam? When were you part of Vietnam? When were you born, Tom? How old are you? I forget.
I was born during the Kennedy administration.
Really? And who sent us to Vietnam?
Oh, we were in French Indochina before it was even Vietnam.
Okay, but what about my question?
Well, we were already there, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. And then who kept that going?
Well, a lot of people.
Okay, name one.
Which one do you want me to say? I mean,
I'm just saying you were
Eisenhower,
born,
Kennedy, Nixon, LBJ.
I'm just saying you were born deep into loserdom America. You lost. You were in the America. You were born.
How can you lose? How can you
America?
How can you lose a police action?
You were born in the time of America, all of America losing to the Ewoks,
include that would include the South too.
Congrats. A bunch of
that would include the South, and there's a case to be made if we hadn't taken the South, if we hadn't taken the South back, we wouldn't have even known how to lose.
Couldn't even figure out how to shoot a guy in a rice paddy. That's how
I think we shot all the guys in the rice paddy. I don't think they were the problem.
Sorry, I was born.
The guys I drank only pure rainwater and grain alcohol.
The guys in the tunnels. And
you're from the era of loser America. I'm from the era of let's go kill a bunch of Middle Easterners for oil era. That was a win, by the way. So I'm from winning America. You're from losing.
Well, those weren't wars. Those weren't wars either. And I'm from both eras, by the way.
No, you're not.
You don't get to just
gonna
define me as this or that.
You're from generation Let's Go.
I'm from
Iraq.
Grenada. I'm from a lot of places
You're
that we
from
did things that
generation-
weren't actual wars.
You're from the generation that said they had weapons of mass destruction. I'm from generation Let's Go Kill them. Okay,
I watched a lot of MASH. I don't know if that.
Yeah. I did too.
that was Korea.
And we won that.
on TV. Yeah.
just to be clear, that was different.
It's-
Which also
it's-
not
it's-
a war.
it's interesting-
War,
it's
not
inter-
a war.
That's right,
It's
not a war.
interesting how the
In
guy.
fact, has there been a war since World War II? Has
It's
there been
not,
a war?
well, not really, kind of.
No, there hasn't.
Yeah.
Has there? Isn't that strange how none of these things are officially wars? But I bet you've called it the War on Terror. I bet you've referred to it as the Vietnam
That's
War.
just rhetoric.
Korean
The war on
War.
terror. That's
Well,
just
it's
rhetoric.
rhetoric that it's not a war.
I
It's
never
a
said
war.
it was. Why are you
You-
so upset?
I'm saying it is a war.
You think the war on terror is an actual war?
Yeah.
So the war on inflation was an actual war.
No, and the war on drugs is not an actual war.
I'm
Well, we lost
agreeing
the hell
with
out of that
you.
one.
I'm saying that's not a war. I don't know why you're so upset.
We're not agreeing. We are disagreeing.
I
I
am
deny
totally
them my
agreeing.
essence, Mandrake.
And I disagree.
I deny them my essence.
I disagree to agree with you.
I don't understand what that means.
I know it's you've gotten lost in your own
Well, it's
argument.
because it doesn't mean anything.
I'm saying you made the argument that the Vietnam War, which everyone calls the Vietnam War, was not a war because no one signed off on it. And I am
No, I didn't. Those are not my words.
and I am making okay, then why was it not a war?
Because it was a police
War
action.
on Christmas? What?
Did they send I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you're right. They sent the police over there. I forgot about that.
It was a police action. It was
Police
policing
action,
another
right, yeah.
state.
The NYPD
Yeah.
showed up and
That's not the only kind of police there are. There's federal police.
are there?
Yeah. There's military police, for Christ's sake.
Yes, military. What do they do?
Well, they're police.
Okay, a police action.
There's a police action. If it had been a
So
war,
one half
we'd have
dozen
gone
of-
over there in a war-like fashion. We would have sent
half
a million, a half a million troops over there. We didn't do that.
That's the police stealing valor from the actual soldiers.
See, you're just obfuscating
That's stolen
your ancestors, just hillbillying it up to the U.S. of A. and getting your butt
no,
kicked.
you made it about it being
I
a
don't believe that they
Now that
drank
was a
rainwater
war.
and poured
That
rain
was
out
a
there.
war. That was an
America
actual
lost.
de facto signed on the dotted line war.
I'll tell you this.
That was a war.
I would argue. Number one,
well, of course you would argue.
Number one, Vietnam is a war.
I'm guessing his bodily
Everyone
fluids
knows
have been diluted.
Number two,
And
You can keep
contaminated.
saying, you can keep
I would
saying it. That
argue-
doesn't
I would
make it
argue-
true.
I would argue that a
Fluoridated water.
civil war is not a war.
Well, you would argue a lot of things
Actually,
that aren't
I would
really
actually
true
say
in reality.
civil
Well,
war
then
is not a
why
war.
did you surrender?
Well, let me ask you this.
Do you surrender if
let
it's
me
not
ask-
a war?
Let me ask you this.
No.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you something.
No, you're never
Oh,
gonna.
yeah, you don't want me to ask you 'cause you
yeah,
don't-
well,
you
I'll
don't-
let you
you're
ask.
afraid.
I'll let
You're
you.
afraid.
You can ask me
You're
just
afraid
as
of
soon
losing
as
your-
I say this. You
Mr.
can ask me
Vietnam,
anything you want.
afraid of
I get
losing.
to say this, and then you can say
Vietnam,
anything
they
you
call
want.
it. The Viet Tom.
Hey, stop it. So after I say this, you ask me anything you want, but you don't surrender if it's not a war.
Who was part of America before the Civil War?
Americans,
Okay, who does that include? What states?
the states of the United States of America.
Okay, and so that includes the South, though, right?
I guess if you want to be technical about it.
It's not technical. It's just true. That's crazy to say. All right, and then who was part of America after the Civil War? All the same people?
All the ones we forgave and
plus
us.
the new ones?
We took you back. I'm not denying that.
Okay, then that's not a war. Sorry, you can't fight a thing that's the same guy as you.
You take over land when you win a war.
Yeah, I
you
won the-
guys seceded, took
I
it
started-
away from us,
I started-
and we took it back when we
started-
won the war. There are a billion wars throughout history where a country fights a war against a place where they used to own the land and they take it back. That's happened hundreds of times throughout history.
The land. It was all the land.
Yeah, we did. It was part of the United States of America after the war.
With all of the exact same people.
All wars are fought over resources.
All of the land stayed with all the exact same people.
Not all of them.
I freely can move into any part of the United States.
One of them was fought over a soccer game.
Well, that's when Virginia split into Virginia and West
entertainment
Virginia.
Resources.
Obviously, there were splits amongst the states. But what I'm saying is, if I start punching myself in the face and then I stop, I didn't win a war.
Well, that's because you did it to yourself.
Yeah. Thank
if
you,
somebody
yes,
somebody starts punching you in the face and you make them stop, then you won a war.
Yes, that's right. America did it to itself.
What about the two-headed transplant?
Half of America did it to itself. Yes.
Are you talking about the Ray Milland and Rosie Greer one or the other one?
Yes. When you do it to
either
yourself,
one,
it doesn't count.
No, you did. I didn't say we did.
Okay, that's still
it's an absolutely
America doing it to itself.
No, it's because it wasn't America. Once you secede from the United States, you're no longer America.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if they seceded, and
it's like if you amputated your arm,
seceded and they were no longer
the amputated arm hit you in the face.
If they seceded and they were no longer America, then that was a separate country, and the Union didn't own it, and so what that was that was breaking
a war.
That was breaking the sovereignty of another sovereign state.
And then we attacked the other sovereign state, beat them in the war, and took the land back. Here's what it's like. Here's what it's like. Here's what it's like. Yeah, we took it back. You had it. We took it back.
But we still have it.
It's because we took it back.
No. The states still own themselves. This is what you Northerners can't fucking figure out: is the states' right things still exist.
You're getting so upset. No, we just took it back.
Do you not understand that the states themselves are also
I think it's the fluoridation of water that's gotten to him. His precious bodily fluids have been diluted.
They were themselves, and they joined another country, and we beat that country and took the states back.
They didn't join
the Confederate States of America. It's a different country than the United States of America.
No, joining another country, the country would have to exist ahead of time. That's not joining another country.
Well, they formed another country. There you are, if you're happier with that. Here's the analogy.
If you
amputated
aggressed.
If you amputated your arm and then your arm punched you in the face and then you beat up the arm and sewed it back on, that's the analogy.
Okay, and who's the winner in that story again?
The guy who sewed the arm back on.
Okay, great. Fine. That's cool. Cool win.
Oh, Tim, I told you what was going to happen with that yesterday, and that's what happened. So you guys still lost is the main point.
And won.
How did you win?
We're also America.
Because we let you be.
And according to the
because we let you be. We were nice about it.
No. According to the North, we always were, which is why they had the right to try to fight for it back.
So how did you win?
The Union did not accept the secession.
That's right.
So then they were always America.
So we, by force, made you surrender and return.
So the same country won.
Well, then what was Appomattox? Was that just
any of? I'm making the argument it wasn't a war.
Oh, well, you're wrong. It was.
No, Vietnam was a war. Civil War is a fake war.
You're making the argument that the wars that were actually wars aren't wars, and the wars that weren't wars are wars.
Gaza, Palestine. Is that a war?
Right? You mean right now?
Yeah, it's the same.
I don't know. That's just a mess. I call that a mess.
Isn't that tough? It's the same country, though.
I don't pay attention to anything that doesn't happen here.
It's all one unit.
I'm very, very
Gaza, Palestine.
xenophobic about.
Who's the South in that one, by the way?
I don't know that there is a South. Well, I tell you what, when it's over, the side that lost is the South.
Okay, and but they will also be the winning side.
If you say so. I don't know how that works.
If
I don't know how when you surrender
actually,
to another side that you're the winner.
In that case, they're being genocide.
You never played sports, did you?
Yeah, I did.
It's like you play sports against another team, you beat them, and they come up to you afterwards and go, but we also won.
If you played sports against your own team, then yeah.
That's called scrimmage.
Okay, who wins in a scrimmage?
The team that wins.
Which is which team?
Usually the varsity.
Which is which team?
Usually the varsity.
It does make me feel like that joke where you say, well, say what you want about Hitler, but he is the guy that killed Hitler. To claim victory.
That's if you believe that he died.
Fair enough. If you go on that assumption,
Hitler won because he got away with it. He went to Argentina.
A scrimmage is sort of like a civil war.
While he was there.
How many? Where does that? By the way, where does that go in your record in a scrimmage?
I don't know if they keep track, but if they keep track, then the varsity wins and the junior varsity loses, or whoever happens to win that day.
Does that count to your overall record of wins, losses?
I guess
do. Auburn keeps track. Bama keeps track. All of them do.
I'm sure they keep track. Yeah, I'm sure they do keep track. But
No,
does that matter? Does that matter in the overall
Your
sport?
out of conference games don't count on your conference record. It's the same thing.
It matters as much as drinking rainwater and pure grain alcohol.
Which college teams win, by the way?
Win what?
In all the college sports.
Well, I assume all of them have won at some point in time or another.
Which ones are the most winning?
Depends on what sport you're talking about.
All right. Name a sport.
Let's see here. Women's badminton.
Okay, you're not going to know the statistics on that. So I don't know.
Why would I have to know? You're the one that asked about it.
Because I'm asking you for the answer.
Well, I can tell you this: there has never been an NCAA champion in Division I college football. All these people talk about we're national champions. No, you're not. You were the mythical champions that was elected by sportscasters.
Well, hang on a second. What if they won a bunch of scrimmages? Are you counting that? Are those being counted?
No, because they don't.
What the fuck?
No, because they don't have an actual NCAA tournament in Division One.
You got to count their Civil Wars.
In Division Two and Division Three, they have actual tournaments. They don't in Division One football.
Put the Civil War up there. Okay.
Well, if they wanted to, I suppose they could have a scrimmage championship. I'm not in charge of that, and I think it's probably a little short-sighted to compare college sports to, warfare between
nations. You're the one who did that, not me.
I didn't do that.
You're the one who said, I guess you never played sports, and that's how we got here.
I was just comparing you. That was just being compared to your we won even though we lost silly thing.
My argument is that it's not a real war.
Well, you have two arguments.
No, that's my only argument.
You have the one argument where even though it wasn't a war and we surrendered, we still won.
No,
well, if it wasn't a war, how can you win?
Obviously, the point I'm making is that no one won. It's not a war.
Then you need to stop saying we still won, because you said we still won. You said that. You did say that.
Tom, you made the exact same. You don't even understand your own argument.
No, I totally understand my argument.
You made the exact same argument when you tried to claim that Vietnam War was not a war. You said that America didn't lose.
I said it was a police action.
You said America didn't lose.
No, I didn't say that. I never said we didn't lose. I never said we didn't lose.
You're part of the losing team.
I never said that we didn't lose. I said it was a police action.
Vietnamese, you're part of the losing team. You were alive.
Well, you don't know.
I wasn't alive for the Civil War or the Vietnam War. I didn't lose shit.
So you say.
And so it shall be.
We have no proof of that.
I'll give you proof of it. Come here and count my rings.
I'd have to cut you open to do that, right? To count the rings.
I'll cut my own arm off and then reattach it and declare myself.
Well, first you have to beat yourself up with it and then cut it off.
Well, I feel like cutting it off is already an act of northern aggression on my arm. So,
well, not if you do it.
Well, what if after I cut it off, I send it to Liberia? Oh wait, is it Liberia? Where was this? Liberia, right? Where was Lincoln going to send the slaves after he freed them?
I don't know.
Then we made a country, right? It's Liberia, right?
I have no idea. This is all more of these conspiracy theories.
Yeah, it's Liberia.
I thought he was just going to let them do whatever they wanted.
Yeah, we just invented a country in Africa to send slaves.
I don't know if you can invent a country.
Oh, really? Tell that to the Confederate States.
You can create a country. You can found a country, but invent is a little.
Tell
it's a little.
Tell that to a fella
abacus. I'd have to slide
that. Invent a country. I mean, come on.
To a fella called Jefferson Davis.
I invented a country. It's
They sell patents to those countries,
Yeah, it's an invention.
That to my good friend Jeff Davis, then.
Well, you're closer to him
Once
than
you've
I am.
invented one, you can get a patent and no one else can reinvent it.
That's right. You get royalties if anybody wants to use it without your permission.
By the way, I just scored 3 points on that.
What?
It's dead heat. It's dead heat.
Did you just hit a 3-pointer or something?
Yes. When you said that you can't invent a country, forgetting that's kind of what we were talking about.
I don't think invent is the right word for that.
Throw it up, put it up on the board. That's a 3 for me.
Create
at the buzzer.
No matter what happens, if I lose, I win. So why would I care about the score?
Okay, if you're agreeing with me, then I win.
Chris has it as 13-13. I guess we both missed an extra point or something. Of course, he's Canadian, so those might be Canadian football points.
What's Canadian football?
It's the Canadian Football League. It's a football league similar to the NFL, but they have lots of different rules. It's like 3 downs to make 8 yards or so. They have a whole bunch of different rules than we do, but they play it with the same equipment. And I think if you punt the ball out of the end zone, you get a point. It's called a rouge or something like that. There's a lot of different rules.
All right, let's say
scoring.
Let's say Bosnia and Herzegovina have a civil war. Who wins? Do you think Bosnia or Herzegovina?
I'd have to look into that. I don't know who.
That's one country. Bosnia and Herzegovina.
I don't know who the starters are. I haven't looked into their recruiting.
I'm putting my money in Herzegovina. I feel like they're an underdog, but that's where I'm putting it all.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really. I mean, that's their business.
Everybody knows Bosnia. Who knows what these Herzegovinians are up to?
Yeah, I don't understand that. Victor's dad did some stuff. Let's see. Crossed the border from Canada. U.S. farm boy from Alberta went to Stanford, hired on to WW2, Wyoming Air Force as a navigator B-17. Wow. See, he's got a great story that he's writing in our chat room. But really, you can't win a war when you surrender. That's all I got to say.
Well, you can if you are still part of the winning country. So,
well, you are.
It's not even really surrendering at that point.
It just depends.
It's just going like,
If the winning country conquers you and makes you part of it against your will, then that's still not winning. I mean, when Japan surrendered to us, it was U.S. occupied Japan for a long time.
Either the Confederate States were always part of America, or they were conquered. It can't be both.
When you beat up your brother, you don't kick him out of the family. You just say, "Come on in, let's go eat dinner." And then sometimes if you beat up another guy, then you just say, "Get out of here! You're a big jerk." like we did to the Japanese and the Germans. It's all a very fluid situation. But
I dare you to even name one other civil war.
Rhodesia.
Was that's not is that a civil war?
Yeah, that was a civil war.
I mean, that they were conquered and then
you want me to call it Biafra instead?
Then swiftly kicked out.
There's been a lot of civil wars.
Spanish Civil War.
That's a good one. That's a real good one.
Who won that?
The Spanish.
Yeah. So who lost?
That's just the way it is with the Civil War.
Who lost? Who lost it?
The fifth column.
Yeah, okay.
A lot of people lose.
Well,
you know.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen if you've got a military junta.
You're just saying that no civil wars are actually wars.
I am saying that. I've never had this thought before. It's just a new concept to me. But you said Vietnam wasn't a war, and I thought, wait a second, a civil war is not really a war. It's an internal conflict.
I think it's a war.
It's not a war.
I think if you watch the Ken Burns documentary on the Civil War and you read all those letters from Jebediah Chesapeake,
I
wrote his Emmy Sue a letter saying he hope he survives Antietam, then you'll know it's a Civil War.
Yeah, well.
Oh, and better still, that episode of Quantum Leap.
Where the one where he's retarded?
No, the one where he goes back to the Civil War.
That might be the same one.
And Ziggy has to. He was on the side of the
That'd be
South.
a funny episode of Quantum Leap. He goes back. He's like, "Al, I'm retarded." And Al's like, "And also, it's the Civil War."
And also,
it's two things this week, Sam.
You're a general for the Confederates. You're an aide to Stonewall Jackson.
Oops, we accidentally gave you Down syndrome in this one.
They did do that in one of the episodes.
Yeah, no,
they made him a little. Yeah,
they definitely did.
They made him a lot of things that he was pretty shocked when he looked in the mirror that he was.
Apparently, this episode was written by Tom Gulley, so you're fighting for the Confederates, and also you have Down syndrome.
Why would I write an episode? Why is that?
Because you think that Southerners are retarded.
That's not always true. Let's see here.
Very rarely true.
Let's see. Willie McDuff says holding your own in a 5-on-1 fight is more honorable than being one of the 5 people beating up one guy. As long as you're on the winning side, I don't think it really matters.
Okay. You might want to think that one through before you say it.
Why?
Well, there might just be some other historical context where that won't shake out as well for you.
What do you mean?
Nothing.
Well, if I'm on the winning side, it's a lot easier to stomach, I think. Because there's been times
I think anybody that ate hardtack was a loser.
It was pretty easy to stomach, during the Civil War, too, because, again, all that happened was nothing, basically, at the end.
Oh, well, you just got done with that heartfelt soliloquy about the rivers running red with blood and avalanches of blood and sinew and bone. That happened?
Yeah, I mean, okay, the death part. We're talking about after that's over.
Oh, you mean?
By the way, again, you guys lost a lot of dudes.
You mean the total effect
by
at
the way,
the end of the
body count? I don't know that you guys won.
What you mean is at the end of the day there was no effect. It was what it was.
What I'm saying is it was still America at the end, and there was no punishment for it.
I do like your idea, though, of Lee and Grant coming together to sit down as generals of the opposing non-armies of the war that didn't happen, and then they just sign a piece of paper saying, I do like the
That kind of is what happened. Yeah. And by the way, if you want to go off of deaths, Confederacy won.
Well, but you don't go by that.
I just looked it up. Well, you just said
no. You're right. You're right. More Union soldiers died than Confederate soldiers.
We fucking annihilated you guys. Jesus Christ.
except that we won. Except that we won. We were more than happy to let you kill more people than we.
360,222 Union soldiers.
Well, it's
258,000 Confederate.
Well, no, the actual figures are kind of broad on each side, but it is clear that the Union had more casualties than the South.
So the Confederacy kind of won in the death department.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? For me, when it comes to the winning, I'm going to go with the not dying side. That's me.
You can do that. That's fine.
I'll be honest. As much as I'm for states' rights, I am also for not slaves.
I go by who signed the "We Give Up."
Losing slaves is not a big loss to me. However, losing life, huge loss.
Actually, that makes
the guys who didn't die.
That makes the South giving up all that much more pathetic.
I like guys that don't die. Okay.
That makes the South. That makes the South giving up all that much more pathetic.
Frankly, Tom, I like guys who
you killed more of ours than we did of yours, and you still gave up. I like Rumpled Trench Coat's thing, though. I can just see with the quill pen. Be it known that on this day in the Appomattox County, April 14th, 1865.
I just scored.
And then just winning
this one, cast.
And then just. It doesn't matter if you win, because I'm going to pull a Confederate States of America. I'm going to pull a Confederate States of America move and go, hey, well, even though you won, I won because nothing happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, the loser of the debate, Tom Gulley. It doesn't matter if you win.
That doesn't. When you say it doesn't matter who wins, that doesn't mean you lost.
That's a big loss for all Northerners.
That doesn't mean you lost when you say it doesn't matter who wins, because you're going to take the Confederate States viewpoint of it.
I'm sure the
when you say that
I'm sure the 100,000 more guys that died were like, oh, at least we won.
When you, not I, say, even though we surrendered officially, we didn't lose. Well, what am I to say about your thoughts on who wins and loses anything?
When I was standing there ankle deep in blood and bone on those battlefields, I remember
Don't forget the sinew and the entrails.
The old coot came out of his house. He said, don't worry, guys, you won, to the corpses in his yard. So, hey, you were the winners.
There were corpses in his yard?
That's what makes our
1,000 more of them.
That's what makes our victory
Isn't that
all the more impressive.
Violation to have corpses in your yard?
It makes our victory all the more impressive.
Weren't there more of you guys,
dude?
Like, there's more Northerners than Southerners. It gotta be.
That's why we could burn them.
Oh, cool.
That's why we could say, go ahead, charge that hill. Charge that hill. We'll get more. Don't worry about it.
Cannon fodder.
We actually when the that's the World War I mentality.
Just send them out in waves with sticks against machine guns.
The Civil War mentality.
And at the beginning of the Civil War, for quite some time, the South was doing much better than the North.
Weren't a lot of the Northern guys too? Weren't they just like half of their soldiers were just a guy with a drum and a flag?
Not half.
Just doing a bunch of
third.
They're basically pretending they're in a parade. Yeah, a flute guy. What the fuck was that shit?
The North's problem was our generals were so terrible.
You guys died so much. What about the dorks?
And we didn't take it seriously. But then we took it seriously. We started putting people like Sherman in the thing,
and then we won. Have guns anymore.
And then we won. There's that.
The whole North was like, yeah, we won't need these ever again. Yeah, smart. Okay, cool.
Well, not the whole North.
Yeah, pretty much. Cool win.
Are you kidding me? There's a bunch of northern states that are gun crazy.
The places where there's the most people, you're not allowed to have any guns. So
New York and New Jersey, that's certainly true. But
yeah.
But there's other places where you can have a lot of them.
I'll tell you that much. It didn't stop me.
There's also big cities.
I'm the one guy with a gun. Who's going to tell me not to have it? Bang, 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 bang.
I don't know.
Well, you'd certainly stop the first 6 or 7.
So
who's going to tell Plaxico?
What about the 300 Spartans Willie Duff says, "What about the 300 Spartans?" And then Tom Gulley said, "What about the 9-foot drag queen fighting the 300?"
Well, yeah. Who's going to tell Plaxico Burress he can't have a gun?
What, his leg?
His rear end, I think it was more. Didn't he shoot himself in the butt?
I thought it was his leg. I don't know.
I think they said his leg just
No,
to
he
save
shot
him
himself in the
embarrassment.
thigh.
That poor
That's
man.
leg.
And then he went to jail for it.
Another win for the toe.
And he went to jail for it. But just because you had one where you're not supposed to have one and didn't get caught doesn't mean nobody can tell you not to have one. And I don't agree with that.
Well, there's a reason I didn't get caught, though. Bang, bang, bang.
Why is that?
Every time someone showed up to try to take my gun, my liberty away from me, I put one right between their eyes.
We all know that's
more
not
than
true.
more than once in my life. I stood in an avalanche of entrails. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
It was like Mortal
He
Kombat.
stood
Like,
more than once. He stood where they fell.
Well, you said avalanche of blood first. Just
blood
like
and
inventing
entrails
a
and
country.
bones and viscera.
Right. Well, after I pointed out the blood,
I'll tell you what, there
said
wasn't
I-
an avalanche of
corrected
brains in the
yourself.
fucking Union soldiers. I'll tell you that.
Well, you can't blame the soldiers for the bad decisions of the generals.
Okay, then the South didn't lose. Okay, great.
Just because you lose a few battles doesn't mean you don't win the war.
You keep walking yourself.
You're gonna have
right
to
now.
have a. You're just everything that you say. I go. Then why do you surrender? Why did you give up? Why did you say, Uncle?
I
We
didn't
give
do
it. We
anything.
give up. We give up.
I didn't do anything.
Let me see if I can find an image of that surrender document. That'd be good
not
to
the
have.
document. Oh no.
Yeah. Well, I
That's-
didn't sign it. You know.
You know, a surrender document really means a lot when the punishment
here it is.
is nothing.
Oh, there was a lot of punishment.
Oh yeah, name something.
Oh,
I
come
beg to
on.
differ. There was definitely punishment on the South.
Yeah.
Don't kid yourself. They were devastated.
Yeah.
What, sending black people to the north? That's a punishment?
No, that wasn't the
I'm just
punishment.
kidding.
Yeah. Jesse, let's face it. When they had to emancipate the slaves, they lost their number one carpenters, their mathematicians, their bookkeepers. They lost all that stuff. That's why the trades happened.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, they lost their number one scientist and rocket engineer. What are you
Stop
talking
it.
about?
There were no rocket engineers during the Civil War. Now you're
No,
just
no,
being
'cause-
silly.
No, because we got those from Germany during the World War II.
That's true.
They started
That's
to
a-
manufacture kerosene in the South, and
Let me tell
those
you about
northern
Operation Paperclip.
scumbags trash destroyed their factories.
Yeah.
I
That-
gotta be honest, guys. I don't fucking know anything about the Civil War. I don't even give a shit.
Oh, wow. Now, see,
What the fuck
that's
do I
why,
care?
that's why you're the scourge of the internet, is that you make this big fracas, and then it just all turned
Listen.
out to be just a wow.
Listen, Tom,
Golly.
when
that-
you grow up in fucking Richmond, Virginia, school for you is about 12 years of Civil War class. And I gotta tell you, I probably learned all of this shit 15 times, and then I unlearned it for the rest of my school career because I just did not give a fuck anymore.
Oh, hey, this is a
you
family show, you know.
You couldn't
Come on,
pay
man.
me to care about if a guy was a slave or not. At this, it's like just shut
I'm
up. I
starting
don't
to
want
think
to know.
he's not a Southern gentleman. Language like that.
Here's my school structure growing up. You go from Civil War class to Civil War class to Holocaust class to Civil War class to Holocaust class.
Why did they have those other classes?
That's it. That's all we. I didn't even learn math.
I'm sorry. that you
Maybe if
didn't
we
have
had
math.
slaves, I could have learned math from all the genius mathematicians I'm just hearing about for the first time. But
Well, apparently you were at a loss there.
Are you familiar with the idea that there's people say now that escaping and escaped slaves, what they would do is they would make maps in their hair? Have you ever heard this?
No.
So supposedly, like the cornrows hairstyle is like it was meant to be. It was meant to show like a map of how to escape to freedom. And this is a real thing that people are now claiming about their hair.
Yeah, it's
Why does this show
BS.
always devolve into
it's BS.
slavery and
It's all you fucking
and
talk
the
about.
World War II and
Mom, that's like
this
the
and that?
one thing you care. Every episode's Hitler.
I don't
Slaves.
talk about Hitler every episode.
Hey, I've been talking about pure
that's
rainwater,
alien.
about rainwater and pure grain alcohol.
Look at this. This is
AI.
look
This
at
is AI.
that. This is scary. This Jesse's. I'm just trying to end the show. I thought you would run off when you saw this.
It was AI.
It's not AI.
Yeah, it is. Look at that hand. It doesn't have the
That
right
looks like some of my family's documents
That is
from
not
those
AI.
times.
fake. This is fake.
It's not AI.
It is. Look at these fake stains they put on it too. It's like when I photoshopped.
Actually, I don't think they have like a. I have to read more about it, but I don't know that they have that actual document anymore.
Yeah, I bet.
I think it's. I think this is like
strange.
It says it's a photocopy or some sort of.
Yeah, I
thing.
bet.
But I don't know. You should know. You're the one that
they
went to Civil War class
Oh,
for
wait.
4 hours a day for
they
12 years.
photocopied the document on what one of them Civil War Xeroxes.
No, they had it for a long time and then they lost it or something. I don't know. I have to read about it, but that's the caption that was under the thing.
Smithsonian-
Again, I
Smithsonian dumped
didn't
it
go
into
to Civil War
sanitation.
class. I didn't go to
Imagine-
Civil War class for 12 years
Imagine
for
some
6 hours a day.
Imagine some poor slave getting a load letter error on their, 1965 Xerox, trying to figure this shit out. I know they're mathematicians.
I think the Smithsonian got it and dumped it into the Atlantic Ocean with everything else.
Sorry, man. But honestly, Civil War is not a real war. Slavery probably wasn't even real.
Right.
It was mostly white slaves too. I don't know why we.
Right.
so
Oh
hard
God. Hey, you don't know what I feel like on a Friday
The
afternoon
first-
at 5 o'clock. I feel like a real.
It
The
was
first,
nothing but the
the
Irish.
first
That's it.
legal slave owner in America was a black man.
It was all the Irish.
That's true. That's 100% true. First legal slave owner in America, a black man.
It's every time. It's,
Tom, do you want to write your surrender note to me now, or
There's actually a dispute
why would I
over
do
that
that?
first slave deal.
Why would I do that?
the punishments
Yeah,
will
you
be
didn't
minimal.
lose, Tom.
The punishments will be minimal.
You didn't lose, Tom.
Punishment number 1, you have to stay with me. Ha ha ha. Got ya. Number 2, you have to die more than me.
Yeah, but he didn't lose.
You would have died more
Oh,
than
yeah,
me.
that's right. No, you're right. You're right.
See, you just always try to make things your way. You don't even follow the
No,
flaw. You won't
that
even
wasn't my way
follow
at
the.
all.
You
I
won't
fucked
even
up.
follow the flawed analogy.
Yeah, no, that's not my
You
way
would
at
have
all.
had to have died more than me.
All
in
right,
that
I
analogy.
agree. I fucked up. That was not my way at all.
You.
No, you're right, Tom. The
Terrible
Union
language.
died more.
I could have told you that before you looked it up.
I asked you before.
And
I
you
looked
went
up.
to Civil War class for 6 hours a day for 12 years.
6 hours. I wish. Oh my God, they held us there. I had to do after school, summer school, Civil War class, in school suspension, Civil War class.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry to hear that.
And by the way, the monster's name is Frankenstein, and the guy who made him's name is Dr. Comedy.
That's
I noticed you really enjoyed my Dr. Comedy remark the other day. We had military districts in the South, and the South was under federal Union control. It was restricted voting rights and even the ability to run for office and citizenship and voting for the former slaves.
Voting rights. Listen to that sentence. Restricted voting rights.
Yeah, You got
love
certain
when my
rights and they
rights
get
are
restricted.
restricted.
Well, nobody likes that, but you lose a war and come on.
Well, that's not a right then, is it?
Well, it's
If
a
you're
right, but
restricting
it's
it,
a
it's not
right,
a right.
but you get it
It-
restricted when you mess
This
up.
is-
I
hey,
have a
this is why the
right.
wrong
I have
side
a
lost.
I have a right to possess a firearm, but if I become a felon, that right is restricted.
This is why the wrong side lost, Tom. Your rights can't be taken from you, or they're not rights. This is all what it was all about. States' rights, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Here it is.
Well, the rights can be given and
Wrong
they can be
answer.
taken away. Yeah, that is the wrong answer.
Sorry, but if you can take it away, then it's not a right.
We didn't take it away. We restricted it.
Who are you, God?
We restricted it. Didn't take it
You
away.
restrict it. That's
Just
the same
restricted
thing.
it.
Okay.
We didn't take it
Are we going
away.
to get into a
just
discussion
restricted.
about force doctrine?
Just to be
Is
clear,
this going to be a
No.
discussion about force doctrine?
felons should be allowed to own guns. I should be allowed to own a tactical nuke. There should be zero restrictions on any right. I should be allowed to yell, fire in a crowded theater. That one actually is legal, but everyone says it's not.
Yeah, I was surprised when I found out that actually was legal.
It is
I've been
legal.
told my whole life it's illegal, but it's 100% legal.
Yeah, they actually did. The Supreme Court actually did rule on that one.
Yeah.
They're good to go. But of course it is. It's your right. You can't make that illegal. It's crazy. I think threats should be legal.
They are.
Well, I think you should be legally allowed to make them without punishment.
Some of them you can.
Some of them. That's not all of them.
Well,
Sorry.
there's actually very few threats that are illegal.
Okay, name all the ones that are illegal.
that takes longer than 500 shows.
All right, name 3 that are illegal. Say 3 threats.
Well, I can't name the specific ones, but because they fall under conditions and categories. First of all, any threat that you issue, first and foremost, has to be believable. And right there is conjecture for a good lawyer. You're not going to get in trouble. If I say, "Oh, Jesse, you come on my show with all of your shenanigans, I could kill you," nobody really believes that I mean that I'm going to kill you. So therefore, that threat isn't going to get me in any trouble.
I'm going to suck you off till you die.
Well, I appreciate the offer, but I
Do
don't
you
want to
believe
die.
it?
I don't want to
Do you believe it? Do you believe I could do that?
I don't want to die.
Do you believe I could do? Well, union.
Do I
guys,
believe you could
odds
or
are-
would?
Just,
First of all,
just deny him your essence.
I don't believe you would even try, Jesse. I think,
Oh, I would try harder than anybody. I would try hard.
you're an American, not an Americant.
It's Nintendo what Sega don't, or something like that.
All right, we got to end this show, man.
Well, this is the big 500.
I know.
We gotta give the people what they came for.
I
Let's
wish
talk
you-
Hitler.
I don't think you can say. I don't think you can say that. I don't think you can say that after offering to do that to me.
I did not see that coming.
Ah.
Didn't.
Yeah, we're not going to talk.
If
about
that doesn't kill a show, nothing will.
Yeah, but I asked people to name their favorite shows. Nobody really did that. Well, some people
Cheers.
kind of did. No, of my shows that I've done.
okay.
I mean, there's one of my favorites right there. Come on, please. And then, but the ones they didn't like, I was hoping people would talk about the ones they didn't like. That's what I'm more interested in. I like this one just because of the picture and because he was a snake expert and he got bit and then wrote all the details down about him dying from the snake bite till he died of blood seeping out of his eyes and ears. And
A hero.
yeah, kind of a hero. He misidentified the snake was one of his first as a boom slang or something like that.
Did you ever ask Ruta Lee if she was related to Bruce Lee? I forget.
No, I didn't get around to that. It was right on my list of questions,
dude,
but I never got
How are
around
we
to it.
going to find out for sure?
I may try and have her on again. I'm gonna send her a nice thing for her. She's doing that show coming up.
Yeah, you got to go to that, Tom. You got to, because she gave you a free pass to go there, so you got to do it.
You could just give her a couple of aspirin.
You think Rita Lee is from China?
Go there. Maybe make sweet, passionate love to her.
You were saying Rumpled a couple of aspirin?
Yeah, if you give her a couple of aspirin and she dies, then she probably related to Bruce Lee.
Is that a threat?
No.
Yeah, it's clearly a credible threat.
She didn't give me a free pass to go to the thing.
You're
by the
threatening
way.
to brutally murder Ruta Lee.
She didn't give me a free pass to go to the. She basically just said everybody else. Oh, and I got to start promoting that a little bit more coming up here because it's at the end of the month here.
Promoting what now?
She's doing her one-woman show on.
But why would you promote it if you're not going to go?
So other people go.
Okay, Tom, you got to be there, man. If you really want the people to go, then
I don't fly anymore.
Dangle the carrot of a Gullerino being there.
I got other things going on here in Dallas on that day.
No, you don't.
It's a special day for me as well.
What? Because it's your birthday? That's a special day to you?
Well, not.
Got to watch the Indy 500.
No, that's on the 25th this year.
I mean, Tom, listen, I would love to celebrate your birthday with you and everything, but at a certain age,
LA
special day.
Flying out to LA and all that. I'd have to have
Come on, Tom. It's Ruta Lee. It's a one-time opportunity. I mean, how many more times is she going to even have a birthday?
Probably a long time.
Well, maybe more than you, but still.
Probably more than me. I would assume so.
And that's a threat, by the way.
Oh, wow. Well, it didn't have to be. You're not the only one.
Let's talk about Hitler, though.
No, let's not talk about that.
What?
On my 500th show, it's a time for happiness and
for a lot of people, that was a time of happiness.
Well, not. I don't think so. I
Really?
think it was a time of great strife and woe for everyone.
Not everybody. Some people were having a grand old time.
Well, not very many.
Oh yeah, name one.
I'm on the whole, I would say.
Ew.
It was a horrible time. And Willie McDuff says, "I'm in Dallas. I will find you." Oh, you don't want to do that. Now that I can tell you would not enjoy. But Anne Frank, there's a person
What?
who didn't enjoy it.
What? You just throw out Anne Frank out of nowhere?
You said give me one person it wasn't a great time for, and I gave you that
She
name.
could be having a swell time in that diary. She was.
Niall Kinnick. There.
Who?
How about that?
I don't know. Who's that?
You don't know who Niall Kinnick is?
No, it sounds like you don't either. You're typing something.
Well, I'm going to give you all of the information on it.
The diary.
How about that?
Someone said.
Niall Kinnick was the 1939 Heisman Trophy winner while playing for the University of Iowa. Consensus All-American extends beyond football, but he died while serving as a Navy aviator in World War II. And I believe that the stadium for the University of Iowa is to this day called Niall Kinnick Stadium.
And that's a bad time, or what?
Yeah, that's a bad time.
He died doing what he loved.
Dying?
Yes.
I think he would have rather been on the gridiron. Probably. The gridiron. So I think it was a bad time for a lot of people, Jesse.
Tombo Gullerino says, I heard Anne Frank's book was mostly flicking.
No, we don't talk about that on this family show.
That is true.
Please.
Her dad had to rewrite her book because
he ripped a bunch of pages out of it.
And he added.
So that was not a good time.
Check the ballpoint pen.
It was not a good time.
It sounds like a good time. She's rubbing herself.
Well, no.
You got time to lean, you got time to clean, you know what I'm saying?
She was
time to bean. Is that what
time to bean.
It was not a good time for lots and lots of people.
Who?
In the Soviet Union, for example.
Oh, who gives a shit about that?
Well, you didn't say that.
Sorry,
There's
those are
a
my-
lot of people. You and your potty mouth, if he hasn't even come onto this show, and
Sorry,
it's like
Tom.
we can't even have a civil discourse
A
without,
civil war.
you know, civil discourse. But I really do need to get going here. I'm hungry. I did 500 shows. This seems like it's been 500 shows. Rumpled Trench Coat is here. He is a professional man. He's very smart.
Well, I mean, how professional
Sister,
can a guy be if
also
he can't
very
iron his
smart.
coat?
What? Yeah, that's true. Wait a minute. My
He's
whole life is a lie.
he's talking about Peter Falk and the
I see-
Columbo
okay,
character.
but I can see the coat. So
Well, he's got it on for effect. It's
the bed is very nicely made. But
It's
the
his
coat,
shtick. Well, he's got a lovely wife that does that for him, I'm sure, and she takes care of
that
that.
does what? Touch the fucking-
Makes the bed that you could bounce a quarter off of, like a
Whoa.
army
You're
inspector.
talking about a man's wife, Tom. Careful with this language.
I mean, you could bounce a quarter off her too.
Yeah,
Jesus.
there you go. Don't you know about that?
25 years.
By the way, every time somebody says
25 years of wedded
Coming
bliss
Wow.
coming up here.
congratulations.
Thank you.
What are you at, Jesse? Like 7, 8, 9, 10?
I literally have no idea.
Well, I was smart. I
You got
married in
7
2000,
kids.
so.
You got
My
7.
wife doesn't even remember when our anniversary is. What happened?
And you got 9 kids, right?
No, 5 years, 3, 7, 4 years, maybe. I don't know.
You got like 7 kids though.
We got another on the way.
I know. She spits them out like a Pez dispenser.
Well, it's because I keep spitting in. So
Oh, hey, well now.
you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Coming inside her pussy.
Oh God! All right, we got to end the show here.
What did you think I meant?
I just you don't have to be so crass.
How
and
did
vulgar?
ejaculating?
No, we get it now. You already
Those are
said the thing.
Those are the slave doctor terms for
You
it.
don't have to repeat it. We got it the first time when you. Oh, look at this! The show just started. Like
You want more like
3
flowery
hours ago.
language or something?
I really it would just be great if we could avoid those topics altogether and not
let me tell
turn
you
this
about-
into pod awful. So it's just evolving into
This
an
isn't
episode.
what Pod
of
Awful's like at all. Pod
Well-
Awful's a professional show, and I appear on camera for Pod Awful.
Well, yeah, that's true. You never appear on camera on my show. I've been kind enough to appear on camera on your show many times.
I will say, Tom, that I have in the past I've never purposefully not turned the camera on. Like it's not a conscious thing. I'm just not prepared. I just don't have it. And then, but for this particular episode, I thought to myself, why break the streak? I'm going to turn the camera off for this one. So, happy 500, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I don't expect you ever. I mean, and I have been complimentary about your set, and I think it is the best contrived set. In other words, not a set that's just a natural setting, but one that someone actually took the time and effort to make a set. It's the best one I've seen on the internet.
I pollinated her flower. Is that okay to say? Or?
As a response to what I just told you?
Yes.
Willie McDuff says, 1 more hour, please. Thanks, Tom.
You got
are
it,
the
Willie.
best. Willie,
For
I
$10, do it.
don't think I'm a $10 an hour kind of guy, Willie, and I am really hungry, and I have a very
Well,
important
$10
meeting
will
in the
get you a
morning.
lot of hamburgers from White Castle.
They don't have White Castles in Dallas.
They've got the frozen ones. Go to the fucking freezer section.
I don't have a easy. I don't have the. I don't have a microwave. I don't use a microwave.
You don't have a microwave?
I don't own one because I don't use one.
What on the earth? What?
Wow, microwaves make food taste awful.
Okay, what do you believe in Oregon?
What are you talking about with that Oregon stuff?
No, not Oregon. Oregon.
I don't know what you're talking
Let
about.
me tell you about Oregon.
No, it's going to be something
No,
gross and
it's
perverted and evil.
No.
All right, go
It
ahead.
was like a fake thing from like the 50s or something, where they thought it was like the ether of the 50s. They thought there was like magic particles or something.
No, I just don't make it. Doesn't the food doesn't taste good?
Orgone.
Like say I make a pizza and I don't eat the whole thing and I want to reheat some pizza. I'm not going to put it in a microwave. I'm going to put it in the oven and reheat it so it's crispy and delicious, not so it's all limp and disgusting.
Do you have a waffle iron?
I don't eat waffles.
Well, it's nice. Sometimes you take a leftover pizza, you fold it over. You put it in a waffle iron. You waffle the pizza. It's pretty good.
Or a sandwich press or a George Foreman.
Sure, that.
I have a George Foreman here,
good.
but I just throw it in the oven. I just don't like microwave.
George Foreman grill makes everything taste like George Foreman. How does a microwave?
I wouldn't know. I've never eaten George Foreman before. What does he taste like, Jesse?
How does a microwave make something taste bad? That doesn't make any sense.
It does. I didn't say it didn't made it taste bad. I just said I don't like it as well as actual oven heat.
It makes everything taste bad. That's a direct quote.
This doesn't taste as good as the other stuff when you cook it the right way, and it doesn't take that long to heat something up in the oven.
This is sounding like woo Tom to me, Mister. I don't believe in Bigfoot, but suddenly microwaves make food taste bad. I don't know. It's a little.
If other people like them, they can go for it. I just like food that's heated in an oven better than a microwave. I actually have the patience to wait 4 minutes for my water to boil on top of the stove.
Why? But why do that? You have it, but why?
All it would take have the time.
All it would take is an appliance that comes with every apartment, and you could have a lot more of your time not wasted.
I'm always doing something else. It's not like I'm sitting there watching it.
What are you doing? Picking your feet?
I come to my computer and I do things, or I'll
reading about
TV
Hitler
for a second.
Again, I guess.
No.
Looking up your favorite mind.
Watch a lot of true crime, and lately I've been watching a lot of retrospectives of Star Trek.
You know what my struggle is? Tom's inability to use a microwave. That's mine.
I couldn't use one. I just said I prefer to not have one.
Well, you know who else didn't prefer to have a microwave?
General Grant.
Hitler.
I bet you he had one.
Oh, no.
I bet you it was pioneered probably by one of his scientists.
Look, he could have gotten a lot more done if he had microwaves.
Yeah, think about how many of them they would have gotten if they had a big microwave.
Right here.
I hear they cook from the inside out in that.
There's a historian in the room, and there you go. Well-known fact.
Microwaves.
Well-known fact.
There you go.
No, he hated lots of things.
Gotcha.
I already did a show on microwaves.
Let me tell you about microwaves. Yeah. Matter of fact,
I'll go further than that. In the words of Mr. Potter, I'll go further than that. I'll actually...
Harry Potter?
There we are. Happy now?
You're quoting Harry Potter now?
No, It's a Wonderful Life. I'll go further than that. I'll say George Bailey is the smartest one of the bunch, mind you.
You know,
a young man who hates the building and loan almost as much as I do.
Okay, but you do know that J.K. Rowling is transphobic, right? So
I don't keep track of that stuff as nearly as closely as you do.
Yeah. Mr. Turf Tom.
What do you mean turf? Excuse me for not liking children's books. I'm an adult.
You're a trans exclusionary radical feminist.
No, I'm none of those things.
You're not a feminist? I think you're pretty radical.
I'm a humanist. How about that?
I disagree wholeheartedly. You're one of the most
Whoa.
hating of other people, human beings I've ever met.
That is just an absolutely horrible thing to say to somebody, especially on their 500th show.
It's true.
I'm a good loving guy. I like lots. I love everybody.
You're a misanthrope.
I think I'm an anthrope that's right on target. That's the kind of anthrope I am.
You like it when you laugh when people die.
Sometimes, if they die,
misanthropic.
If they die in a funny way in a movie or something, can be
misanthrope goat. That's crazy.
I don't laugh when real people die. I laugh when
what? No, you used to read wacky news stories where a guy would like walk off a cliff and you'd be like, ha ha ha. Enjoy your trip. See you next fall.
I never said corny things like that.
Yes, you did.
No, I did not. Those are all there for people to go back and try to find me. I would say, well, there's another one. There's another, and I would criticize them, but I would not say that I laughed at them. I leave that to other people.
And you think that you believe in the potential of human beings, huh?
Some human beings.
Okay, well, that's not a humanist then. If it's only some.
A humanist doesn't ignore
the believed in some human beings.
A humanist doesn't ignore people like Jeffrey Dahmer and stuff. You're not forced to think of the. You're not forced to think of the potential of people that are evil or that.
Hitler.
You're the one that keeps talking about that.
Well, I can't. When I look,
you just keep on talking about.
You would look good with a toothbrush mustache, by the way.
I don't think so.
You would. You could really pull that off. I'm not kidding at all. I'd say that's a rare look that someone could easily pull off, but there's something about it. No. Your hair sort of looks like a toothbrush mustache as it is, and so I think it would match well.
See,
I would look even more like Oliver Hardy. I don't think.
We gotta end the show. If you're just gonna sit here and insult me, then
I'm not insulting you. How is that insulting?
It just is. You know what you're doing. Stop it.
Seriously, how does that insult you?
You stop it with all the, well, you look, I'm not even going to do it because then you'll just pile on again.
I didn't say you look like anything.
Yeah. Yes, you did. You said you would look good with a certain facial grooming, and I don't want to go down.
Isn't that wrong to say you would
yes,
good with a
it
mustache?
It really is.
How so?
You'd look good with a bow in your hair. Is it wrong for me to say that you'd look good with it?
How is that the same? That's not accurate.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? There's a lot of women with mustaches out there. Incidentally, I guess you've never been to your Discord. You've never been to your own Discord if you're unaware that there are women with mustaches. Your very own Discord celebrates women with beards and mustaches all over your Discord.
Leave my grandma out of this.
Yeah.
Is Michael Jordan bad? He's got a toothbrush mustache.
That's his business.
Okay, I'm just saying you could pull it off. That's it.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Yeah, if I had one, I would pull it off or shave it off. One of the two.
Right?
It's a promise. All right. Well, hey, man, Jesse. Seriously though, thanks for coming on to the show and bringing all your friends with you. And
got kind of tense there at the end. I don't know.
It wasn't tense. It's just
I felt bad. I didn't mean to.
Yes, you did.
I did not.
Yes, you did.
I did not.
You mean to do everything that you do.
I am legitimately offended that you think that.
You mean well? I'm sorry that you're offended. God knows you of all people.
I accept your apology.
You of all people, I would never want to offend.
It takes a big man to apologize and admit when he's wrong, and I accept your apology.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing that. And of course, Rumpled Trench Coat. Thank you for being here. And
Thank you so much for having me on. Congratulations on your 500th. Really nice to be on with you, Jesse. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, same with you, man. It was nice to meet you. And again, Tom, congrats on the big 500. I can't believe it. It seems like were we ever so young? It seems like just yesterday that you had your 200th episode.
I didn't celebrate. I've never celebrated the number of episodes until this one.
I know, but I count each and every one of them. I've been keeping track for a long time. I've been watching you for a long time.
No, I don't think Rumpled Trenchcoat knows our backstory.
Well, now's not the time. You were just ending the show. It's
Well,
kind of a weird time for a lore dump, don't you think?
Well, hey, look, if there's anything, if you watch this show like you say you do, which is difficult to do because it's usually on the air at the same time as yours.
I didn't go live tonight because it was your 500.
Well, we do false endings here all the time. I mean, I start to end the show, and then it's just like a half an hour before the show's over. But and just like this show, I started ending it about a half an hour ago. Rumpled Trenchcoat, Jesse and I have not always been as friendly as we are now.
I was always as friendly.
I don't know. There might be...
I'm something of a misanthrope, so...
Mary Jacobs, thank you so much for the donation and happy whatever 500.
Whatever.
So I'm not saying Jesse had a grudge or maybe just enjoyed lampooning me, making fun of me. He might have done 17 shows about me, maybe, that are somewhere.
That's high. I don't think that's true.
I asked for a count from some of your henchmen, and the number that came up was 17.
I think I got kicked off of YouTube after 1, so I don't know how that's possible.
So you think the number's 1?
No, it's more than 1, but I don't know how it's possible it's 17.
Well, you could check yourself now in your own.
They're counting like me re-uploading streams of yours that I showed up on or something like that. There's no way.
What do you think the number is of actual concert? Oh no,
3.5.
It's way more than that.
4 maybe.
I would say it's 11.
That's not a lot, really. Yeah, I mean that. If you ask Mersh, that's not a lot.
That I agree with so much. And by the way, I'm probably not. I think it's probably Mersh, Rufio, Santa Cruz Joker. Shaman's probably making his way past me at this point, right?
No, I don't. Not yet. He's not there yet.
He's gonna get there pretty soon.
Not if these numbers you're quoting me are right, but he's getting there.
He's gonna get there. Yeah. Rumpled, I don't know if you've been to the podawful.pizza site yet, but Rumpled, have you watched any of Jesse's shows?
No, I have to admit it was mostly when he's on with you, and but Podawful Pizza, is that what it is? I'm
Podawful.pizza, but I'm going to tell you right now.
I mean,
watch.
I always found him and his friends funny, so I should definitely
watch. Check it out. I'm going to say watch The Red Rooms with this character named Rufio Phoenix. Is that a good starting place, Jesse?
Yeah, or maybe the one before that, the Buried Alive one. Yeah, there's this. Do you like horror movies?
I do. I do.
Then those would be good ones for you. There's this guy that we troll all the time. Like we just mess with, like way harder than Tom. And we convinced him that one of us was his girlfriend, and we turned his life into a horror movie. And we've managed to do that more than once somehow. And yeah, so there's one called Buried Alive and one called The Red Rooms, and it's all real. Everything, I mean, all the stuff we're doing is fake, but he believes it all.
Okay, so basically like a prank on him.
Yes.
You guys roll in on it.
Oh,
And okay.
God.
All right, I'll have to give that a listen.
Do you go to Discord very often?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. I think I finally boomered out. I think
okay.
I'm pretty good with technology, and that's the one that broke me because I go on, I get emails saying you missed 300 messages and talking about you, and I go there and there isn't the one, and I just like what this isn't.
Very
I
true.
think
Well,
I think this may be beyond my brain. I somehow have 2 accounts, but I didn't sign up for any. I don't know what the hell's going on with this.
Well, Discord has all these giant voice chat rooms.
Okay.
Similar to what we're doing here, just not streamed across the internet.
StreamYard, gotcha.
And I am telling you, these are so brilliant and so hilarious. Yeah, I would start there. But
Okay.
Jesse's got a lot of really, really awesome content, so you should check it out. And
I know I'll definitely do that. 'Cause,
It'll be
that
very
sounds like a lot of fun.
confusing. It's a lot of lore. It'll be very confusing. But the ones that we named are probably good, soft,
Like a little good intro point.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Especially if you like horror movies because they're
I
all
do.
themed around like as if it's man living through an actual horror movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty fun.
I'll definitely start there.
Yeah, give it a shot. And then all of the pot off people they're into Columbo, Rumpled Trench Coat. It's the best. Hey, I saw a thing today that said the Columbo episode they weren't able to release for 40 years. Do you know which one they're talking about?
Yes, and they still didn't actually release it. Brian De Palma had written a script, and because it was too expensive to shoot and too involved, and because the basic plot involved a thrill killing, they, like Leopold and Loeb in real life, or the movie Rope, from Hitchcock.
Yeah.
They really balked at it. They went with ones that were less expensive, easier to film, had very clear motives that audiences could understand. And so they've released the script, but it was never actually filmed. And they did take elements of it for a lot of different episodes. Especially the thrill killing part. They had the 2 college students. I think it was called Columbo Goes to College. It was the newer episodes of Columbo. But yeah, it was actually kind of a tease because I started to watch the video and it was one of those AI things where they said, "Hey, this script hasn't been released in 50 years," and then they went through the entire history of Columbo and everything. I'm like, well, okay. Yeah. Please get to the point, and eventually I just skipped to the end.
Yeah, I saw that one today because it had a hot girl that was covering up part of her body or something, and I didn't see that episode of Columbo. That's not Anita Bryant.
Right.
All right. Anyway, well, guys, thank you so much. I'm going to end the episode now, but thank you very much for being here.
Bye, everybody. Happy to be here, Tom.
Take care, folks. Congrats on the 500. Take care, everybody. Thanks again for having me on, and I'll check that out, Jesse.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And Jesse, whatever you need, you got it. All right.
Okay, but
and I am going to show my feet next week.
That's what I
will announce on Monday when it's going to be, and we'll do a big
don't go get a pedicure or start doing a bunch of
Think about what you just said to me.
I need to see them in their natural habitat, exactly as you found them.
That's what you're gonna
Don't
get.
Clip the nails or anything. Let them grow a little.
That's what you're gonna get. Well, the nails probably have been those probably get clipped weekly, Jesse.
Well, don't leave it for this one. All right.
We'll
and don't use any of your antifungal creams.
I don't have any antifungal creams.
Oh, that's perfect. Yum.
All right. We'll talk to you later. Oh God, what a show. All right, folks. So I'm looking at that old clock on the wall, and it's really time now for me to make some dinner and get ready for a big thing tomorrow. Thanks to all of you for being here. Sorry I couldn't get to all of your comments. You guys are too good to me. And I'm sure tomorrow we'll go back to 5 people watching the show. But in the meantime, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And I guess the only thing left to say is, till next time, we'll see you next time.
1, 2, 3, 4. They call me Mr. Gulley. I've got something for your ear. Now it might sound kind of funny, but I'll make it very clear. So what we talking about? We're talking about spiders, and we're talking about pervitin', and we're talking about Bigfoot. I'm here to tell you where he's been. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. Here we go now. I'm talking about Mr. Gulley, and you don't know where he's been. Oh no, he's been right in your alley. Well, I'm Mr. Gulley, yes I am. So what we talking